Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
Let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
It's here. It's time. There's always a buzz in the air when you hit this moment.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
We will develop men. We will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
I think of him as this hawk. Before long, he's going to be swooping in on those quarterbacks.
Coach Elko's my guy, right? Like, I love him. I love Michael Early. Like, I think Bucky's going to be incredible.
It's football, man. And that's what Warriors do. They don't want to sit out.
And this is a real program. It's not fake. This is a real place. And if you want to be really good at football, this is a really good place to be.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies.
I need a strategy, OB.
What's that strategy you need?
I need help, right? And I can figure it out. It's not like I need everybody to text in, but last night I didn't feel good. I told you that. I had like the sinus headache. I went to bed early. I went to bed like at 8. And what a 9 hours of sleep does a lot for you, okay?
Yeah.
And I feel refreshed this morning. But my whole plan was to watch the basketball game.
Okay.
And then I remembered the whole YouTube TV thing. And I don't want to spend a lot of time on YouTube TV, and then because there used to be a time where, all right, the game's not on TV, but if you have ESPN subscription through YouTube TV or whatever cable service, you go to SEC Plus and you can get the games.
Yeah.
That was not an option anymore for me. And I didn't think of it because I was like, it's not on ABC. It's just, I get it on my computer. I can just stream it, whatever. So I couldn't watch the game. I've got to come up with a new strategy because I don't know if there's a future at YouTube TV. I guess I got to get the ESPN app or what is it? Fubu or Choo Choo or Lala, whatever's out there. I got to get another service. But I didn't think of it until 7:09. Like, what am I going to do? Because I went through all the games on the ESPN Plus app and it wasn't one of those.
Yeah, I'm going to have to do something similar. Change my...
Could have gone to Reed Arena. I just didn't feel good.
Yeah, well, I understand that. I was there. I was tired, but I was there to watch the unveiling of Bucky Ball in College Station, and it was all it was supposed to be. Mm-hmm. Full court, nonstop pressure, all kinds of traps and presses.
Felt like a different brand of basketball.
Yeah, they expect to actually make a shot.
My daughter Isla is a huge Aggie basketball fan.
I didn't know that.
Watches all the games with me. Last night, obviously, we didn't get to watch, but she was kind of, I don't know if annoyed is the right word. Not annoyed. Maybe confused, if you will, because she got to know all the players. Andy, Henry, Wade, like she knew Buzz, like just visually, right?
Okay.
And, she's like, I don't know any of these guys, Dad. I go, well, nobody does yet.
Nobody, right.
You will. It's going to be fun. It's going to be like when we first moved back to Aggie Land, that you got to know this team. We're going to get to do that again because these are all new players for Bucky, too.
Yeah, look, I know the opponent isn't great, Northwestern State, but considering that these are whole, like you said, a whole new roster, guys that have never played in that system. Well, one guy's played in the system, but guys who never played in that system in a real game before, and guys who had played with, alongside each other. And you're without Bongo. I'm going to
McKenzie and Baco.
I'm going to have trouble with that. And then you and Pops Isaacs was limited.
Yeah.
Because both those guys have some injury issues.
Yep.
And you still went out and scored 98 points, and they should have had 100. They went through a spell where I think they were rushing shots and things like that, trying to get there.
How many minutes?
For
that they went on the spell?
It was probably about 5 or 6 minutes.
Oh, I thought you were going to say 6 or 7.
5 or 6, 6 or 7.
What highlights are on.
Missing?
Never mind. We'll talk about it later. The kids understand. Joby, if you don't mind, Nick. What were you doing now?
5 or 6, 6 or 7.
Yeah, 6 or 7.
Oh, okay. I don't know what. I still don't know what.
If that meme wasn't dead, it is now.
Oh, now that OB's got it.
There's a meme?
About 6 or 7.
I'm clueless.
Anyway, what was it 98-68 final? Does that sound right? All right. So close. I think we even talked about it on the show yesterday. I said maybe 100, maybe 105. They were close.
Yeah, in fact, I was looking up to see when was the last time A&M had scored 100 points because I was expecting it to happen. It was 102, I think, in a 102-52 win over Dallas Christian. It was one of those
DCU.
One of those games. I think I remember it. Somebody canceled a game or whatever, and so they just scheduled anybody who would play them.
Yeah.
And an NAIA team came in and they went 102-52 about 3 years ago.
Okay. I don't remember. You know what something I do enjoy?
Besides flexing?
I do enjoy flexing. Yeah, I do. That's actually, in fact, I haven't done it this hour yet. I enjoy Mike Elko press conferences, which is weird because I feel like oftentimes press conferences are like, like you're not really going to get anything. And I'm not saying Coach Elko gives you something. I mean, he gives you something, but they're not going to give you the game plan as they shouldn't, right? But I always feel like I leave with a good bite or two, like, oh, that was good. Especially when he picks on you a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, what makes you think that I can't play tackle?
We'll get to that.
That was a hell of a block back in the day.
Can we actually start with that soundbite, Nick? I don't have it in that order, but you so eloquently asked about the offensive line.
Because I'm going to write about the offensive line tomorrow.
And I forget the way you phrased your question, but something to the effect of, you knew they were going to be good, but were they this good? And then you followed up with the veteran part of it.
I was asking him if, do you feel like what's a greater asset, physicality or the experience? Because a lot of times, you hear all the time about, hey, these guys have been playing together and this, and they've got the cohesion. And he said, well, physicality.
So there's a two-part question coming up. Let's listen to Coach Elko breaking it down.
You're seeing them play to the level we believe they were capable of. I think, they're a veteran group, and so, they were excited to get into SEC play, and I think that was part of what we went through a little bit at the beginning of the year, which was, no disrespect to anybody, but I think there was some big games on the schedule, some games that our guys were looking forward to, and we kind of, built our way into the season, it felt like a little bit in terms of how well we were playing, and as we've hit the part of the season where it's full all-in SEC play and the line of scrimmage is critical, I think our offensive line has elevated to that challenge, and I think you've seen them go out and play really well. Now they have a massive challenge in front of them this year. This is the best defensive line that we've seen to date. They're an extremely talented group. They've got two of the best edge rushers in the country, and so we're going to have our hands full on Saturday in Columbia.
Would you think for that offensive line, is it a greater asset, their experience, or their physicality?
Oh, I'll take physicality over experience all the time. You're experienced, but I don't think I'm going to play you at right tackle this week because I don't think you have the physicality that we need. And so I think physicality wins out.
Shoot, man, I grew up, my middle name was Physical.
That was your middle name?
Yeah, Olin Physical.
Like Olivia Newton-John.
I said, let's get physical.
Yeah.
Let me hear your body talk.
I hope we hear that song coming up next. Riley's got a cue.
Riley's on top of it, no doubt about it.
But he gives really good answers.
And I'm almost to that weight that you would expect me to be on the offensive line,
Stop. Another thing that he said, I asked about peaking at the right time. Yeah. And you know what? The way he phrased it to me was the right. I should have phrased the question differently because it isn't about peaking. It's exactly what he says. You'll hear it here in a minute about a growth mindset that you're just constantly getting better. It's not about being at your best. Maybe when it's about continuously growing. Here's Coach Elko on peaking at the right time.
It's such a hard thing to gauge. You certainly don't go into the season when you look at, okay, we got to go to South Bend in week 3. We're going to identify week 9 as, when we want to peak. I think you're trying to push this growth mindset in your program that, we've got to come out of the blocks ready to go. No team is their best version in the start of the season. You want to really be a team that grows every single week and really understand that the best teams and the teams that are standing at the end get significantly better as the year goes on. And then hopefully get into this month of November where, everything's at stake and you understand the urgency of that better maybe than we did last year, and you continue to see that growth through the month of November, which then I think leads to people talking about, oh, it looks like they're peaking, but I think it really kind of just step ladders all the way through the season if you do it the right way.
Thoughtful answer. You know, I didn't think of it that way, but that's exactly the way it should be.
And yet we have seen countless times teams peak too soon. They play their best football. We've seen it here.
Yeah.
We've seen teams play their best football like in October, and oftentimes, and typically in November they don't play well. And here we are in November.
Let's start November with a W.
Yeah,
and follow it with a W.
Woevember. Woe is Woe is Mo. Woe is Missouri. Woe is Mo. I may have a lead for my column if the game.
See how
right
mine
there.
works?
Woevember.
See, I do. I'd rather have a veteran than the physical OB. At least as my columnist.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, yeah. It's physicality doesn't really help you that much
when you're trying
when
to
write a column.
Unless you're stabbing
Unless you want
someone you're interviewing.
Pick up your laptop and throw it across the room, which I've wanted to do a few times.
I've done that. Hey, let's now do one more soundbite from Coach Elko on Zollers. So, is it Zoller, Zollers? Somebody told me it's Zollers.
I think it's Zollers.
Zollers, okay? Matt Zollers.
Matt Zollers.
So, I asked about, when you take on a quarterback that you haven't seen a lot of film on, is it kind of like the beginning of the year with the transfer portal, and like how do you prepare for it? And Coach Elko, you'll hear it here in a moment, basically says it's not like they can change their complete identity. They're still going to do what they do, but maybe tailor it to what he is good at. No. So here's Coach Elko on that.
I don't know how much you can change the structure of the offense. I think that when you get to this part in the season, and obviously I'm sure they will, they're coming off a bye week, and I'm sure they'll have their wrinkles and build the thing around him as best they can. But, you've got 10 other guys out there who have 8 games of experience playing in a certain system, the certain kind of way. It's hard to deviate that. I'm sure what they'll do is try to tailor it to him, what he does well, what he's really capable of, and I'm sure anticipate that the 10 guys around him will step up and support him, and he'll go out and play a really good game with those guys as a tremendous supporting cast for him.
Of course, as much as I want to talk football, the people on the YouTube page are asking questions about Olin Buchanan that I can't answer, and I want to ask. But about your physicality and you playing offensive line, some questions. Like James is asking, how much does OB weigh? I'm guessing he says a number.
What's the number?
315.
I'm on my way.
No, OB's 190. And then
I wish.
TexAgs needs to unleash the real OB. Every episode have OB at the stand up. So maybe instead of the holistic planning cool zone where we sit, you're standing.
Maybe I could just open up in a 3-point stance, break down, and show
You might not be able to get up.
My pass protection moves.
Hey, this is
TexAgs. That punch in there.
Do that again.
That punch in there.
That's a pretty good punch, actually.
I told you, I was a hell of a block.
It's all in the hips, OB.
I was a hell of a block. My hips don't move anymore.
Well, this is true. Hips don't lie. Shakira?
Yeah, mine not only don't lie, my hips are mute.
This is TexAgs Live, I promise. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio, and it is the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. This particular hour is called what?
The Go Hour.
Thank you. Just making sure. And this area we're sitting on is?
The Holistic Planning Cool Zone.
It's very cool here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it.
That's why I'm wearing a hoodie.
And if you want to call the show, you can do it by calling this number.
You mean
the Buppies.
The Buppies Catering and Bartending. And bartending at 979-693-1150.
Buppy texted me yesterday. Somebody listening to the show said they booked their Thanksgiving. No, it was a wedding, excuse me, for catering because of hearing it on TexAgs. We highly recommend it.
And like you said, Thanksgiving. And I've always, again, I'm experiencing the need for this. Some people are going to be having graduation parties coming up.
Right.
People graduate in December, right?
Sometimes.
And maybe you want to just hire a caterer instead of going to a restaurant and doing all that.
Exactly that.
There's another option.
All right, let's go around the room left to right and say hi to the humans. Behind the glass is our friend Nick Savage. And Nick, before you give us a thought, have we told humans what we're doing starting tomorrow at a certain place? I think we hinted at it, but I don't think we've told people.
Yeah, I think you've teased it. But
do you know what we're
it's
doing?
Been announced.
I'm always the last to know everything at TexAgs.
So there's a channel in Houston called Space City Home Network.
Okay.
Okay. And the Space City Home Network is the home of the Houston Rockets.
Okay.
They are also the home of the Houston Astros.
Okay.
Okay. I believe I might be making
It's
this
a big
up.
house.
They might be the home of the rodeo. They might be the home of just
They
a lot
are.
of, huh?
Yes, they do show the Houston Rodeo.
Okay. They're also going to be a Airbnb of sorts once a week for TexAgs Live. So TexAgs Live, I believe, will be the lead-in show for the two Adams. Adam Clanton and Adam Wexler do a show.
The A-Team.
The A-Team, there you go. And I think we're gonna be the lead-in for them on Wednesdays on Space City Home Network. So we're gonna capture about an hour of the show from Monday and Tuesday, put it together. Nick's got a lot of extra work to do. We don't have to do that much more. And boom. So if you are in Houston and you are at a sports bar and you see Space City Home Network and you see TexAgs, that's why, once a week.
How about that?
The work OB has to do is maybe dial it back a little bit
Yeah,
on
you gotta
Mondays and
dial it back.
Tuesdays, you know? Just kidding, OB. If it were up to me, I want you to turn it up.
Now, I like to think I'm always pretty cool and what's
Collect?
the word?
Calm,
Cool,
collect.
calm, collected, but
Yeah.
kind of understated.
Yeah, like me.
Yeah, like David.
Yeah, I'm just relaxed.
Relax.
I did have a moment at the fields this weekend. I'll tell you at the break.
Okay.
I'm always embarrassing my kids. Hey, Nick, what do you have?
Well, I got to catch, the very end of the first half into the second half of Aggie basketball last night. And oh my gosh, it's so much more entertaining to watch. It's not even funny. It's night and day difference. I get it's Northwestern State, so competition will obviously increase. But they're so much fun to watch. And according to Luke, they didn't even shoot very well. But to us, it's like, oh my gosh, they're lighting the world on fire. So great change of pace and really exciting to see Buckyball for the first time.
I was just glad that the coach showed up in the post-game press without, less than an hour after the game. Probably within 20 minutes. I'm like, well, wait, you mean I'm going to get home before midnight? Because okay.
And then young Luke Evangelist commented on that as well. I'm like, Luke, you've covered this team for 6 weeks. Relax. OB's covered since Buzz's first day.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're looking forward to seeing what Buckyball can do. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center. Justin is there. Justin, I know you've got a little Aggie basketball for us and some other notes.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot to dive into. It's been a really positive week for the Aggies. For one, Buckyball, what was so impressive about their win was we had 9 guys all put up over 15 minutes of play, so it was really spread out. You had guys like Josh Holloway, Ruben Dominguez, and more, which we'll dive into next segment. But that was super impressive, and it was on the way to Bucky's first win as Texas A&M's basketball coach and 100th win collegiately as a head coach.
Right.
Can't wait to see his 200th win. We'll be doing the go hour that day.
Maybe it'll only take about 3 or 4 years. 3 years.
Hopefully. What else?
Yeah, we'll dive into volleyball a bit here. Obviously, this weekend was a huge success, beating number 2 ranked Texas, number 16 Tennessee. They continue that hot streak, and it did enough for them to be bumped up in the AVCA from 9th to 6th on the season. Plus, Afina Kazakpala was named SEC Player and Defensive Player of the Week for her 6th and 7th time.
Thank you very much, Justin. Appreciate that. When you do that, I have a different thought. I'm not going to even.
I don't even know what's going on.
Anyway, we'll have Jamie Morrison on the program tomorrow. We switched up his hit so he can have a little extra day off, and we'll get him on the show tomorrow. All right, OB, you can take several coaches. All right?
Yeah.
6, 7 coaches.
Bucky McMillan, he earned it.
And you're going to take them to lunch.
Yeah.
Okay. And you're going to have a State of the Aggie Union address.
Okay.
Okay. And you get to pick the menu. What are you picking?
Well, it depends on if we're going Thursday, Friday, or Saturday.
That's when you're going.
We're going to 1775, and I'm going to order up probably the sampler, so I can get some of the brisket that is so succulent and some of that jalapeno cheese sausage that is life-changing, the ribs, the pork ribs that I like so much, the turkey that I probably need to be eating more of, and then the pulled pork, and then I would always, of course, especially for Bucky McMillan, because he does start his press conferences at a reasonable time after the game. I think he's earned the queso mac and cheese.
Yeah.
Elko too.
We'll get him a dessert, maybe.
Sure. One of those homemade desserts by I can't forget
Belinda.
Belinda.
Yeah, it's delicious.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what it is.
I mean, whatever.
But they're always good.
They're always going to be
what's
good.
it going to be?
Yeah, it changes.
She makes them homemade. I mean, it's not like they came frozen. No, she makes them herself.
They've told me thank you and also some other words, maybe not as happy about how we talk about the queso mac and cheese because they're selling out quick.
And that's something like if for the next tailgate, if you want some of that, call them up or go online, order beforehand because again, it's made from scratch. It's not frozen or anything like that. So you're gonna get the real deal. So you got to give them time to get it prepared for you.
Call them up 979-492-6241 or visit them at 1775txbbq.com. It's 1775.
It's good.
And we're back. We call it TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. It is the Go Hour, presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations, David Nuño, Olin Buchanan, and our basketball analyst, Luke Evangelist. Luke, you veteran you. How are you?
I'm good. It's good to be here this early.
Wow. Are you tired?
A little bit.
A little tired? Yeah.
I'm tired from typing out on the game thread, having to follow along with.
It's hard to do with them constantly scoring.
Yeah, I mean, it's so quick. I feel like I can't give as much detail. Last year, I could type out like an entire essay of what was going on, and now it's like Fetty rebound, Ryland Griffin 3, pressure, turnover, steal, Josh Holloway layup. Like, it's very quick.
Well, just before we get into some real questions, biggest takeaway from last night?
I mean, they handled business. They did what they had to do. There were a lot of other teams that struggled last night. I mean, Boise State lost to a team that's not even Division I. Auburn went to overtime with Bethune-Cookman. You never know how a team's going to come out, and A&M historically hasn't really started fast in their season openers, and this game was pretty much over 10 minutes into the game. They were up 30 most of the second half. They handled their business. Their pressure was really frustrating Northwestern State, and I know it's the quality of the opponent that, they're not really going to play a team of this caliber when a game matters deep in the season, but I thought that they could have very easily fallen back into some bad habits or maybe played outside of the system, but every single point scored was either from a free throw, a point in the paint, or from a three. And to my knowledge, I think the only mid-range shot that was really egregious was one that Zach Clements took in the last 2 minutes of the game. So they played within the system and shot the shots that they needed to. And overall, I thought, their pressure was solid.
Yeah, I think the game was decided in the first 2 minutes. It was 9-3.
Yeah,
and clearly that they were playing an overmatched opponent. Now they Northwestern State had one guy, guard number 5. I mean, that guy could play.
He had 28.
He should be on A&M's team.
right.
But they had a couple of I've seen A&M in the past play worse teams than Northwestern State and lose to them. So I don't want to take completely discount everything. They went out and played well. They could have played better, though.
Yeah.
So, what was your assessment of Pops?
Well, it's Pop singular.
Pop, yeah. Isaacs, plural.
Look, he hasn't played in 11 months, and he was 3 for 8. This is the worst you're going to see him play. Like, it not only takes him time to get back to basketball shape and basketball rhythm, but he has to get into buckyball shape, and he has to learn how to play within this system and with his teammates. And Bucky was saying it, like, they haven't practiced with him, with the entire team. Like, if you think about it, by the time that Pop got injured this summer, Ali Deba hadn't even gotten here yet, and so they didn't have their entire team put together. And so it's going to take time. That was essentially like his first practice with the team was in a game. So he's going to have to learn on the fly, and they're going to have to adapt on how they play and learning how to play with Pop, because when he's healthy, we all know what he's capable of. Like, A&M fans don't need a reminder of what he's done to A&M, and he can be a guy that gets you 15-plus points a game, but for not playing in 11 months and having back-to-back lower body injuries, I thought he was moving around fine, and he just needs to get his legs under him. But 8 points, 3 of 8 shooting, like, he could have gone 0 for 8.
Yeah.
Like, he was making a couple threes, so can't really complain. It's just, will he be a better version of himself a week from now or 5 days from now when they got to go play Oklahoma State, and they're going to need him to be a lot closer to the Pop Isaacs that he can be than what we saw tonight. But I'm glad they got him in. I'm glad he got to play 18 minutes. It's a good building block for him.
I think the thing that stood out to me, even more than the fact that they scored 98 points, was I think there was 13 steals?
Yep.
And just the volume of steals. There were assists. There was 22 assists, sharing the ball like you'd expect. But I think the thing that stood out to me is, again, the way they played defense, and you saw it the way it's supposed to work. 13 steals. I mean, some teams will have 13 turnovers in a game, and they'll be travels and charges, everything.
Yeah.
13 steals. That I doubt that they're going to get 13 steals on a regular basis, but it does show. It gave me a good look at what the defense is supposed to be about.
Double-digit threes, double-digit steals. That's a recipe to win.
Yeah, and they didn't really even shoot it that well from three. They only shot 35%, and I know that would have been like top 6 in the conference last year as a team if they shoot that every game, but they're not just trying to be top 6. They believe they can shoot over 40% every game, and you saw it against Arizona
What did
State.
A&M shoot last year from the three?
30 to 31%.
Yeah.
They were like bottom 30 in every shooting statistic imaginable.
Yeah.
For like the last 6 years. I think there was 1 year of the last 6 that were actually pretty decent shooting the ball from 3-point range.
What did they do from the line?
74% last night. They shot 87% in the first half and then 50% in the second half. I mean, if
what
you
what are they looking to shoot for the season?
about 74 to 75%.
Okay. So on track.
Yeah, I mean, the guy who had the most misses was Fetty, and if you can just get him to shoot 50% from the line, that's a win, and he shot 50%.
Both of you, what do you guys think about what you saw from Aggie?
I mean,
Looked real good to me.
Yeah.
I mean, again, I would expect him to in any system. I'd expect him to be better than the guys he's playing against Northwestern State. So he was, and he looked really good to me. Now, I think what you'd be alarmed is, and it happens if he went out and played against Northwestern State and he didn't. Yeah, I mean, he was okay, but you didn't notice him.
Right.
I mean, you noticed him. And that's what a good player is supposed to do.
Yeah, he's physical. He had all 12 of his points in the paint, and when he gets his 3-point shot rolling, he's going to be even more dangerous.
So 3 games this week. We talked to Bucky about that yesterday. That's a lot to start the season off, but then he dropped that little note that I think you were ready for, that they will be back in the Players Era. Is it Players Era?
Yeah.
Players Era next year in Vegas, but they kind of had to redo their schedule because they thought they were in, then they weren't in.
Right.
But it's still a lot of work for the first week of the season.
Yeah, I mean, that's why you're seeing them go play Florida State during that week where they were supposed to be in Vegas. I mean, they had to completely redo their schedule based on being left out of that Players Era. Not a bad idea to start with 3 games in 3 days 3 games in a week. You know, you're going to see that.
Tournament anyway.
Yeah, exactly. You're going to see that when you go play in Nashville for the SEC tournament. You are going to play 2 games in a weekend if they make a run in March Madness. So this team has depth, and they're going to flex their muscles on teams late in games because they have 9 guys who are going to play 17-plus minutes. But I'm not too concerned about them playing 3 games in a week when they only had 2 guys play more than 19 minutes.
By the way, their 4th game of the season against a team that we owe a victory against because last year they celebrated, and they should. It was a good win for them.
Yeah.
They stormed the court, right? If I remember correctly.
Yeah, they did storm the court, and if you remember correctly, that was about the only notable thing UCF did all of last season.
Yeah.
So.
And that game, if I remember correctly,
don't remind me. They were up 9 with 2.5 minutes
and
left.
They went on
completely
a huge
blew
scoring
it.
drought. Yeah, which became a theme.
Yeah, it did. Now I don't think, the scoring droughts are fewer and far between.
There was one yesterday.
Yeah, you wouldn't even notice because they put up 98.
That's right. Thank you, Luke. Appreciate you. All right, we'll come back with Charean Williams here on TexAgs Live. Right now, insurance decisions shouldn't be made quickly. They should have the ability to take time and know your situation, and that's what the Rollo Insurance Group does. They build lasting relationships through education, and they help you understand what you're buying for and the why behind it with expertise in everything from home to auto to business to specialty coverage. Their independent agents provide options tailored to your specific needs, and they take time to explain that policy in plain language, ensuring that you're never left wondering about your coverage. Their educational approach empowers you to make informed decisions, and many of their clients discover better protection at competitive rates because they simply understand their options. Experience the difference at their 60-plus offices in Texas and, of course, their headquarters here in College Station on Highway 6. It is Rollo Insurance. Visit them at rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. That is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs or call them up, 888-44-ROLLO. It is Rollo Insurance. All right, let's get right to it. To the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline, our good friend Charean Williams, the Aggie Hall of Famer and Pro Football Talk writer. Hello, Charean. How are you? Good morning.
I'm doing fantastic. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood.
It is beautiful. I wanted to start off with a NFL/college football question because yesterday one of the things Coach Elko talked about was more spikes and swings in college football these days. Very much like the NFL, where a team can make a run all the way to the Super Bowl one year, next year not even make the playoffs, and then next year be back in the Super Bowl because of the parity in the league. Do you see it the same way?
Absolutely, I do. I mean, they've got free agency in college, and it's the same model as the NFL has, other than not having a salary cap. It's the same exact thing, and you're a different team year by year, different players for the most part. You've got a little core group that's going to be back, and I like A&M's strategy of trying to get guys who have more than 1 year out of the portal, and I think that's probably the way to go if you can get those guys. But sometimes it's the 1 year guys who are going to come in and help you, and then they're hopefully leave for the NFL. That's what you're hoping, that they're good enough to leave for the NFL. Usually if they stay around, they're not. But yeah, it's a lot like that. And I'm looking at all these firings, and I'm like, you can't have that many SEC teams. You look at just the SEC coaches who've been fired. You can't have that many teams who are good every year. Like, are we going to see this every single year? A team is coming off a bad year that they're going to fire their coach. It's not going to happen. And I don't think it's going to be the same teams every year. I really don't. You'll have those at the top who have a lot of money. I think A&M's one of those that can be in that group. Texas, obviously, Alabama. You know, some of those teams that Ohio State that have a lot of money are going to spend money to get good players year after year. But that's what it's going to take. It's just like the NFL.
Charean, it's November. A&M is going on the road to play a ranked opponent this week. What is your level of concern, apprehension, angst, whatever you want to call it, going into this game against Missouri?
Well, I would ask number one, and I don't know this, I'm assuming this, that Missouri's starting quarterback is not going to play. Is that correct?
Correct.
That's correct.
Yeah, well, you know, if your starting quarterback doesn't play, there's a reason you're where you are, and it has a lot to do with the quarterback. So with the quarterback being out, I would expect us to win this game. And if you look at how we've played Missouri the past couple of years, I would expect it probably to be a blowout. I know Missouri's really good, but I don't know. Losing your quarterback is a really tough thing. And I watched a little bit when the backup came in the last game they had, but I didn't see enough to know if he can really play or not. But, you know, getting in there and starting is a totally different thing, and playing that A&M defense is a totally different thing. So honestly, I don't have that much because I expect the defense to come out and really dominate in this game, and then it's up to the offense to score enough points. I know Missouri's defense is really good.
Charean, what team in college football has changed your mind that you thought, you know, I thought they were going to be bad, but they're actually pretty good, or I thought they were going to be good and they're actually not that good?
Oh, who was the team we were saying the other? South Carolina. I really liked Sellers last year, especially the end of the year, the way he was playing, and but they started in the top 10, top 15, wherever they were. I thought they were going to be good, and they're stinking it up. I mean, they're not just not good; they're bad. They're a really bad team. So that may be one that really stands out. I mean, Texas obviously starting at number one, but they're starting to get it together a little bit. I expect them to take another loss before they get to A&M and be out of it, but who knows? They've got still have an opportunity here, so I don't know if I'm putting Texas in that category just yet. But when you start out number one, I don't think you expect to have two losses by the start of November.
You know, it's not that, you know, we're great soothsayers of college football, but David and I were both kind of skeptical at South Carolina because everybody was talking about Sellers being back, but nobody was talking about all the defensive guys they lost. Yet, is there a team that's maybe in the top 20 that you look at and you're thinking, I don't see it?
Well, I honestly, I don't.
Okay, you don't know the top 20 is?
It's my Aggie. It's not my Aggie bias. I just still am not convinced Texas is that good, and just because I've seen what they did against the Mississippi States and losing to Florida and all those teams, I did think they looked better. I thought the play calling was better, much better on Saturday. But then they go give up 21 points in the fourth quarter. I don't think they're that good. I think they're one of those teams, you talk about mediocre and bad. I don't even think I think they're a mediocre team. I don't think they're a bad team. I think they're a mediocre team, and it's not what they expect yearly from that team in Austin. So I guess that's the one I kind of look at in the top 20. And Oklahoma.
That's one I'm thinking.
I'm not sold on Oklahoma. I mean, they lost to Texas and I realized the quarterback was coming back. I get all that, but I watched a couple of their games. I'm just not sold on Oklahoma either.
I should probably allow OB to ask a Cowboys question if they're going to make a trade or yesterday or whatever.
I'll say this, Charean. I couldn't watch the Cowboys game because I was covering that A&M basketball game last night, and I feel like I was blessed by getting to miss that. So, what is the next step to put out this dumpster fire that is going on that we know as the Dallas Cowboys?
Well, you'll be glad to know that they made a trade this morning.
I'm sure it's going to make all the difference.
They traded for Logan Wilson, the middle linebacker from the Bengals. No surprise, I put his name out there a lot, and I was told they were looking for a middle linebacker. You'll also be glad to know that the Bengals defense is on pace to set the record for the most points and most yards allowed in NFL history. And this guy has not only been benched, but he's been relegated to the third-team defense and special teams play. So that's who they got to be their starting middle linebacker. Now, is he better than what they had? Possibly. But he's not what he has been in the past when he was a very good middle linebacker. But that's who they got. I'm still tired from getting back late from the game, but they did not look good in that game, even without Kyler Murray playing, although I think Jacoby Brissett's probably a better quarterback than Kyler Murray. He'll be interesting to talk about him at some point. But, they did not play well last night. They didn't look good. 3 wins, 5 losses, a tie. I think they would have to win out or maybe lose one more game to make the postseason. They still think it's been they still have hope that can happen. You look at their schedule with what's coming up with the Chargers and the Chiefs and the Lions and the Eagles, and they're not winning those games. So it's over.
Yeah. Jerry Jones actually thinks they have a chance still?
They think they have a chance mathematically to make the postseason. Otherwise, why would you even make a trade at this point? I mean, he is under contract. He's got a hefty contract, Logan Wilson does, for the next few years. They can get out of it, no guaranteed money next year. So it's if you're looking at they gave up 7-round picks. They didn't give up much. And if you're looking at contracts, that's probably one that you look at because they can get out of that contract if they want to after next year.
Big D now is going to stand for delusional instead of Dallas.
Hey, Charean, we're up against it. Who are your Aggies in the NFL?
Well, we could have skipped this part, to be honest. It was just, it was not a good week with all the players. Myles Garrett was on a off week, and lots of Aggies on injury reserve now. But, shout out to Antonio Johnson, 7 tackles, and they won. Edrin Cooper had 8 tackles in a loss, but he still played great. Number 2, Jalen Jones came back from his injury and got dinged up at the end. We'll have to see the injury report tomorrow to see. Hopefully it's not anything bad, but he had 4 tackles, a tackle for loss, and a pass defense in a Colts loss. And Devon Achane, 14 carries, 67 yards, 6 catches for 39 yards in a loss. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody, but I looked at all the things, and it was not a good week for the Aggies in the NFL.
Charean, great stuff. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
All right, Charean Williams there on the Puppies and Catering Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with a short final segment. Right now, we're talking about Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They are Aggie-owned and operated, and they're a mobile IV hydration company founded a couple years back. And what they do is they just bring you all your minerals, right? All the things that you might need, from a quick boost of hydration to a dehydration preventative. They can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. So if you have a busy weekend, you're out and about at the soccer fields, or you're at a concert, a festival, you're just busy doing yard work, and you start getting drained, you need those necessary vitamins and minerals, and they'll bring it to you. They want to make sure that you know that they will have a personalized, accessible approach to you here in the Brazos Valley, and they'll come directly to you. You can book an appointment or inquire about their services by calling 979-217-1561. That is 979-217-1561. It is Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. Hey everyone, it's David and Olin from the Holistic Planning
Cool Zone.
You know, I like when we have the chairs here because I don't feel like I have to do this when we're talking about holistic planning. But they want you to know, TexAgs subscribers, they take care of the TexAgs subscribers.
Oh, absolutely. Take care of everybody.
They want to know that anybody who signs up by November 27, 2025 will receive this awesome offer. If the Aggies beat the Longhorns or win in Austin on November 28, 2025, clients will pay no management fees to Holistic Planning for the entire 2026 calendar year.
That's free.
It's free 99. Actually, just free.
All you got to do is beat Texas. Well, it's not if they beat Texas, it's when they beat Texas.
When. And when you go to holisticplanning.com, you're going to love Holistic Planning. So it is holisticplanning.com. Check out the website and take advantage of this awesome offer. As a reminder, the final segment of the program is brought to you by Double Dave's. That's at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We're going to hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls or a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza and, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls, reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Oh, we got invited to go work out in Houston. We should go do that.
All right, let's go work out in Houston.
Yeah.
Where can we stop?
We should do a series, like a YouTube series, where we go with different types of workouts, right? I can do yoga, which I can't do yoga, but I can do we go to yoga, you in your little leotard, showing me how to do the yoga poses. Are you about to do it? Okay, gosh. Look at that. For those watching on the television, can you do down dog?
Yeah, damn, that's basic.
What? All the room you want, buddy.
We don't have enough room here.
No, right there. I can see you.
Yeah, downward dog. That's basic.
What's another one? Pigeon pose.
I don't know about the pigeon pose. I don't know what that is.
I think that's one. That's one, right? Okay.
Oh, that's what that's called. Yeah, I've done that before. I used to do some yoga.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did actually.
Yeah. Well, that's what we do.
When I did P90X.
We do the Moffitt workout. We do the one in Houston. We do the yoga. We do Brazos Valley MMA. We do a bunch of different things.
What do we eat?
1775.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Thank you, Obi.
All right.
All right, coming up in the 9 o'clock hour, we're going to have Josh Pate. We'll have the Association of Former Students in studio as well. Joni Taylor on the phone. And then the 10 o'clock hour, Jordan Pugh and a Missouri insider. That and more is TexAgs Live. And this is the end of the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations. Let's get right to it. It's TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Time for our weekly conversation with Josh Pate, presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, and they want to honor the military and first responders for all that you do. And from October 19th through November the 11th, they're showing their thanks with 10% off at your local Academy store and online at academy.com/discount. Exclusions do apply. And we go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Our friend Josh Pate joining us here on the program. What's up, Josh?
I'm looking at my watch. It says November 4th. It says that, which means, do playoff rankings come out tonight? Is that
tonight.
right?
That is tonight. That is tonight.
Wow.
And where's A&M going to fall in those playoff rankings? 3, 4, 1, 2, please?
Where does the AP have them right now?
3, right? Yeah, the AP has them at 3.
Okay, let me make my blind guess that there'll be 3. Let me just start there and then work off of that. And I'm asking you, I'm asking myself, I'm asking everyone, do we really find out tonight how much differently they're valuing strength of schedule? Or do you think that's going to be something we really got to wait until like after the final rankings come out to find out? And I'm not just talking about A&M. I'm talking about the way they treat the Big 12 champion runner-up, the way they treat Virginia or whoever in the ACC that's got a really good win-loss record, but they don't have any top 30 wins. I've been beating the drum on this for a long time. You know, as long as you and I have known each other and we've ever talked about playoff rankings in college football rankings, period, I've always thought you are what your record says you are is a huge lie in college football, which is different than the NFL. And I always wanted them to at least address that in rankings. So they say they are. Now, that's all we have so far. They say they are. I still have to see them bump an 11-1 team in favor of like a 9-3 team. If there are 2 departures in win-loss between one team and another team, you're going to have to show me that they would prioritize strength of record, strength of schedule, all these metrics that much. Now, that's not going to bear itself out tonight. But like if we were to see A&M be number 1 tonight, even if we were to see Indiana be number 1 tonight, that would like be an early indicator. Also, wherever Georgia Tech is ranked tonight, that'll be an early indicator of how much they're like reprioritizing those buckets. And they'll spell them out, I assume, on the broadcast, which starts at 7 Central, by the way. I don't remember that happening in the past, so I'm having to change the start time of my show. So it's not all good news tonight.
No, Josh, you bring that up, and look, I might have a flawed methodology when I do my mythical playoff rankings and the way I look at wins and losses. This has been my formula, and it's not even a formula, it's just the way I look at it. To me, a victory is a moment of time, right? So if you beat an LSU team that, yeah, sure, they lost the week before and their season is completely derailed afterwards, I still think you beat a pretty good LSU team that had lost to top 10 teams by 2 of them by close scores. So that's how I look at it. And sure, I look at the record. You know, last year I thought Indiana should be a playoff team, even though I don't think they beat anybody of substance last year. This year, same record at this point, and I completely believe in them because of the body of work. So I just have the eyeball test works for me, and then I try to freeze a moment in time in how I look at it. Sure, at the end of the year, I might look back and be like, yeah, LSU ended up not being a very good team. But when you played them, this is who they were.
If you do it the right way, you can't do it without tons of conspiracy theory woven in. Because the right way to do it is what you said. This is another thing I think you and I have spoken about no less than 4 or 5 times on this show. The way you value a win, how you define the win. So 2 examples here, one from the SEC, one from the Big Ten, from this year alone. Alabama is going to be told for the rest of the year they have one of the worst losses of any team because they lost to a terrible Florida State team. Well, they lost to a team that ended up having a terrible record. I watched that game in week 1, and I look at FSU in Super Bowl mode. They literally look like they spent the entire offseason preparing for a game instead of a season. It's raining down there. It's a tough environment. All right, so I watched the resistance Bama got that day. Yeah. It wasn't the resistance that a terrible team would give you. The Big Ten version of that is Oregon at Penn State. Oregon goes to Penn State. They're in overtime. It's a dogfight up there, and you're getting Penn State's best shot. You beat them, and I'm a full believer it imploded Penn State's season. Penn State's going to go on to have a bad record. They're going to go on to fire their coach. And I'm going to listen to a committee member 2.5 months later tell me, well, Oregon doesn't have any good wins. Well, BS, they don't. That's a good win. Well, Penn State, they went on to be a dead team. But Oregon killed them. So why don't they get credit for the fatality? They killed them. So I have always been a firm believer that to about a 95% degree, you need to have the skill to define the value of a game, the value of a loss, the value of a win, when it happened, and crystallize that. Now, the one exception to that I've always thought is if I beat you in week 1 and you weren't even top 25 and no one expects anything from you and your over-under win total is 5.5, but you go on to go 11-1, I don't have any problem going back in time and retroactively giving more credit to someone for beating a team that was thought to be bad and ended up being good. But there is so much collateral damage you do to a team when you beat them downstream that I always hate that teams suffer because of the impact them beating a team had on that team. I hate that.
I agree with you. By the way, this kind of brings up different conversation point, but it got me here. Yesterday with Connor O'Gara, we were chatting, and it's interesting how we look at conferences, like I'm talking about the SEC and Big Ten here, where years back, the SEC was top heavy, winning national championships, but really we knew it was 1 or 2 teams that could do it all. And the conference was good, but there was 1 or 2. Now it's 1 to 10. The SEC is really good. And the Big Ten is the opposite of that. They used to be that conference that was full of teams that were pretty good, but they weren't top heavy like the SEC is. Now it feels like the Big Ten is the top heavy team.
It's been that way all year. I've thought since probably SEC media days, the SEC could take on a Big 12 field this year. In that, I don't think this is a surprise, David. I don't think it's a shock that there's a little compacted nature of the top half of the SEC. There was no overwhelming favorite coming into the season. So it's not a surprise the conference looks that way. It's the way the Big 12 has looked for a long time. Here again is the skill in this. You've got a very, very low IQ, low sports IQ kind of person out there who looks at this and says, well, I guess if the SEC doesn't have a dominant team or a team standing out above the pack like the Big 12 has had for a long time, that means the SEC is the overall quality that the Big 12 has been for a long time. Therefore, the SEC shouldn't just automatically get all these teams in. I've dealt with that. I've done national radio hits a couple of times this week already. Now, one of those was from a bad faith host whose name is Daniel Cannell, who just tossed it out there because he wants chum in the water. But there are other people who really, truly look at this and say, SEC, it's just a bunch of average teams down there. Average relative to what? There are 136 teams that play this sport. So are you saying there are a bunch of teams 40-ish, 50-ish? Like, is that really what you're saying the SEC is full of? Of course you're not. No one's that stupid. So what are we really saying? We're really saying it's average compared to the elite of the elite that the conference used to spit out. So relative to Alabama 2016 or LSU 2019, there are a bunch of average teams in the SEC. I would counter that. And I would say there are a bunch of average teams in college football relative to those squads. You may sell me on Ohio State being better than anyone in the SEC. Maybe Indiana's better than anyone in the SEC. But what if the truth was known, David? What if we could just what if God himself took a sudden interest in college football rankings for like 5 seconds and said, hey, I'm going to snap my fingers. Here's the true power ratings. And Ohio State was 1 and Indiana was 2. But 6 of the next 11 were SEC teams. What does that say about the strength of conferences, relatively speaking? What does it say about the access they should have in a postseason? And by the way, what does it say about who's most likely to win the tournament? Probably still the Big Ten team. But what does it say about the depth of conference? I think those are two different things sometimes.
Yeah, I agree with that. One of the things Coach Elko said yesterday was that we have to realize that we're in a different world, that we don't necessarily have those 14-0 Alabama teams anymore. You're now in a world where you just want to get invited to the playoffs and hopefully be not peaking. He told me not peaking, but going in the right direction, getting better each week, as opposed to what it used to be. And an example of that is Ohio State last year.
Yeah, Ohio State is the best in the country. It's not like you can have a true test on this. I think Ohio State is among the best in the country at doing this. I remember going up there last spring spent the day with Ryan Day and his staff, and they were just completely obsessed with how longer the season could be. Remember, last year was the first year of the expanded. So they were really, really focused in on the fact that we may have to play 17 games to win a title this year. And they had all their systems and processes in place that they were obsessing over, and it was all geared towards peaking in December. Now, that team went on to lose 2 regular season games, but they peaked in December at the right time. So they were really zoned in on that. And I think you're seeing the same thing with them this year. They're not the only one trying this, obviously, but look at partly because of the quality of their personnel, quality of their staff, partly because of how inferior their schedule's been this year, how they've been able to bring Julian Sayin along, and they've been able to bring that team along, and they haven't needed to go pedal all the way to the floor week 1 on. And now Ohio State look as good as they look right now. You could argue they haven't played their best football yet. They probably can't get much better than they're playing right now, but maybe they haven't played their best football yet. What Mike Elko's saying is that's the same way they feel at Alabama. That's the same way they feel at A&M. That's the same way they feel at Georgia. Maybe Oregon feels that way. So, everyone's trying to do that. Who's the best at it? Because I know Ohio State is, so I've got one finger up. Now I got to find out who is 2, who's 3, who's 4, who's 5.
Well, it's interesting for an A&M perspective. Even though I know A&M was in the playoff conversation last year at this point, mentally, I was not thinking about 15, 16 games. Mentally, I was thinking about 13, maybe 14, right? And now they're basically at the midway point if it goes as good as it can go.
You just spelled it out perfectly. I think even playoff hopeful teams do not train their mind properly. And this is not just speaking about fan bases. This is speaking about people in the building. They are thinking, what does it take for us to make it to the playoff? That's just not how Ohio State thinks. That's not how any championship caliber program is thinking. They're thinking, how are we playing to the 3rd week in January? And if you recondition your mind to think that way, you just said it perfectly. Right now, to the common person, it feels like we're way deep in the season. To someone who's going to win a championship, you're at the midpoint of the season. And it is a really, really long second half of that season. And I remember we were in Atlanta for the national, was it the national title or the semifinal? Wherever the title, I think it was in Atlanta last year. Yeah, it would have been the title for obvious reasons. I remember the day before the title game, we were doing some media event. And I just remember thinking to myself, I was talking to some Ohio State guys or Notre Dame folks, and I remember thinking to myself, I remember the first round of the playoff. It feels like an eternity ago. Like the teams that got eliminated in the first round, that feels like an eternity ago. They've already had over a month of their season being over that they would have had to sustain had they won week 1 and then week 2 or round 3 in the championship round. That you can't fully appreciate that until you're there. You cannot fully appreciate how long, it's like holding your breath, how long you have to hold your breath to make it from the first week in December, conference title weekend, to the 3rd week in January. It's a long time.
Well, get us ready for Missouri. Zollers looked pretty good in that limited action. Because I'm a worrier, I always worry about road games in the SEC. I mean, We've seen it plenty. But what are your thoughts on this game, especially with Ahmad Hardy's ability to run the ball? They have a very good defensive line. How do you see this game kind of playing out?
Just assume you're going to get their best game of the year. I've been a fan a long time of betting on teams that have to start their backup quarterback. That doubly applies to starting the backup quarterback out of the bye week, which sounds really weird. If you don't know anything about college football or betting, you listen and say, wait, aren't you supposed to be your weakest after the starting quarterback goes down? Well, if you don't have a capable backup, yes. If you have nothing behind the starter, yes. Oftentimes in college football, with a few exceptions, the gap between number 1 and number 2 is a little bit overblown. And also, I think what more than makes up for that gap is the galvanization that happens in a locker room when the starter goes down. If you've ever been in one, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever watched enough of college football, you know that when the starter goes down, for any program that has a pride about itself, the collective understanding from a defensive lineman, a safety, a wide receiver, that we got to shoulder a little bit more of the load. When you stack all that on top of each other, sometimes it more than makes up for the gap. David, sometimes they play their best game of the year when the backup quarterback's in. It makes no sense. So you double that when you're coming out of a bye. You got a really sharp offensive staff in Missouri. They went down there and got blanked last year in College Station. I know because I was down there. It was the most boring game we went to all year, which is a very big compliment to Mike Elko and those guys. And so you got the revenge factor, you got the backup quarterback factor, you got 2 weeks to get ready for it. And I think if that didn't wake you up enough, if A&M's struggles on the road historically aren't fresh enough in your mind, not this year so far, but historically, if that's not fresh enough in your mind, if the understanding that this is new territory for A&M, this is sort of rarefied air for them, and you got to go on the road here in November, if that doesn't wake you up, maybe that point spread woke people up when it started circulating, and it was, at last check, under a touchdown. Maybe that woke people up. Watch what Texas struggled to do in Starkville. Georgia's going to Starkville this weekend. That line's around a touchdown. So this league this year, man, the worst are not terrible. The best are not great. And so I'm not saying it's fully like the NFL. It's not quite that parity-driven, but it's a lot more compacted than it normally is. So I'm not saying it should be your worst nightmare to go to Columbia, Missouri. I'm just saying don't overlook it.
Josh, to kind of help illustrate that point, last season, you look at what A&M did, and a couple of their best wins were backup quarterback games. Marcel Reed got his first start on the road at Florida. Marcel Reed came in at halftime versus LSU and took over that game. So you look at that, and you also consider what happened last year at A&M. Even though they lost to South Carolina, they go to Auburn, a game that they should absolutely win, and they lose in overtime, a game that they were down, 21-0? So, and again, same point in the season, early November.
Yes, it happens all the time, to the point where I'm almost surprised people get surprised by it. More often than not, when you have the backup in, good things happen. It won't happen over a sustained period a lot of times. So this is kind of like a sugar high sort of thing, but it doesn't matter for A&M because they're not playing Missouri in a best-of-7 series. They're playing them one game this Saturday. So also, I mean, think about Missouri's situation right now. Like, they're looking at their schedule. I was at the Vandy game, and the quarterback goes down, and man, I was with Drinkwitz after the game for a little while. I was around that team for a little while. That was as deflating a gut punch as you could have, because not only do they lose the quarterback, they lost him on a 4th and goal play in a game that ended up turning, and it's a one-possession game, and they lost it. So, like, a lot of your preseason goals go out the window. Your quarterback goes down. If they had to play A&M 6 days later, buddy, it would have been tough. If they had to play Air 6 days later, it would have been tough. But you give them 2 weeks. And you guys know, everyone knows, what you feel like in the immediate aftermath of a loss changes 24, 48, 72, 96 hours later, and you start to lick the wounds a little bit, and then you start to talk to each other on the message boards and these shows, like, you start to maybe reinforce that we still got some life. Hey, there's a path here. Well, is that a ray of sunshine? Are the clouds breaking? And 2 weeks later, you're geared up again. It's a sold-out crowd. You're ready to get yourself an upset win. So you just got to change the way people think. That's what the best teams do. They go on the road against a team fully geared up, like you did against LSU, and you just change the way they think. And the more consistent you are in your performance, the less variance there is in the outcome. That's what you're looking. That's what peaking is. That's what ascending towards a peak is. It's your consistency in performance continues to crystallize itself, where it's not up and down, up and down. It's just kind of linear, kind of steady, kind of progressing.
Last thing for you. Last week I asked you this. I'm going to ask you again differently. The ripple effects of coaching changes in the SEC, or just in general in college football. Now Auburn's open. Nobody's surprised by that. It was trending in that direction for quite a while. But somebody will leave a program to be the head coach at Auburn, at LSU, at Penn State. Like, all these places are going to have ripple effects. So just for a moment, what is it going to look like, you think, next year? And maybe not where people end up, but just in general, the amount of shuffling we're about to see.
Yeah, so there is nobody who could possibly answer the question. The most dialed-in agent, whoever you think, Jimmy Sexton, if you think that's who that is, he could never answer the question. Not because he doesn't want to, because he can't. No coach could answer that question. No AD could answer the question. What you'll have, it's the most boring answer. There'll be a lot of new faces in a lot of new places. What interests me the most, a lot of times, David, is new head coach takes job. For example, let's say that's Lane going to LSU. Let's just say that. Does he take Pete Golding with him? Who do you take with you? Who gets left behind? Does Ole Miss offer their job to a coordinator from your staff to keep them behind? Like when you saw Notre Dame offer Marcus Freeman the job and Freeman doesn't go to LSU. Think about how huge a deal that is. That you got Brian Kelly, but you didn't get Marcus Freeman. That is so underappreciated when these moves are made. And yet it's sometimes the biggest lasting storyline, who you did or didn't bring with you, because it's a staffing game. It's not a one-man show. It's a staffing game.
That's an excellent answer, man. I didn't think about it from that perspective. Josh, thanks for your time, brother.
Appreciate it, David.
See you, man. Josh Pate there on the Buffy's Bartending and Catering. I should flip it around. Buffy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with Around the Association. Right now, when it comes to your money and your peace of mind, it starts with the right team. And that right team is Aggie-owned Paragon Financial Advisors, an independent fiduciary firm serving clients across Texas with no commissions, no sales pitches, just trusted advice tailored to you and your needs. With a team of 18 professionals, including 9 CFPs, a CFA, and a CPA, their expertise runs deep at Paragon Financial. And their credentials do matter, and so does your future. So go to paragon-adv.com. That is paragon-adv.com, or call them up, 979-693-3907 to schedule your free consultation today. That is Paragon Financial Advisors. Integrity, expertise, and trust. Paragon Financial Advisors. All right, let's go around the association here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. We got Aggie Ring Day, Elephant Walk, a lot of great stuff going on. And to discuss it all, we've got Sue Owen, class of 1994, the manager of communications at the Association of Former Students. Hello.
Hi. Hello, dear.
Good to see you.
It's really good to see you.
And we got Katie Devlin, class of 26, head director of Elephant Walk. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. It's nice to be here.
So let's start off with Aggie Ring Day. We got 25th anniversary.
Yeah, we're rounding out the 25th year. Sometimes you don't know how Aggie traditions start, and sometimes you do. Oddly enough, Aggie Ring Day and Elephant Walk are two that we know how they started. And 2,500 Aggies are going to come by and pick up their Aggie rings this weekend, and it's always just such a happy, delightful day, and it looks like the weather's going to be nice and going to be a joyful day.
Katie, let's transition to Elephant Walk. How did you get involved with Elephant Walk?
Yeah, so I'm a part of class councils. We are the group that puts on all of the class traditions, and I got involved my freshman year through the Flow, which is Fish Council, a part of class councils. And I started out with the traditions through that, since we get to volunteer at each of the class traditions and experience them before it's even our own tradition. So this past spring, whenever the applications came out for head director, I decided to apply because I just felt that this was just such a great tradition and I wanted to contribute to it.
Awesome. So this is the 100th one in 26?
Well, they've missed a couple. There's been wars and things. But 100 years ago, fall of 1925, was the first senior Elephant Walk. They had done a little predecessor to it. The class of 26 did a little walk their freshman year. They got together their senior year and redid it. And it was like a little parade. It was a trend at the time doing snake dances. And so Aggies would do snake dances around bonfire. So they did a snake dance up and down Military Walk and reminisced about their, it's the end of your time as a part of the 12th man. So it's usually before the last home football game, schedules permitting. So it's reflecting back on your time as part of the 12th man, and it got adopted right away by the following senior classes, and here we are, 2026, class of 26.
Yep.
Hey, Katie, talk to me date and time and what we can expect on that day.
Yeah, so it's going to be a week from today, November 11th at 6:26 p.m. And students can start showing up at 6 p.m. We'll go to 4 different stops. We're going to start at the quad, and I can't reveal the other stops yet because we'll be revealing those on our social media this week. So if people want to follow us at tamu.elephantwalk, they will get all of those updates on there. But I can say that the association president, Porter Gardner, is going to be our first speaker at our first stop to kick everything off.
I love Porter, by the way. So there'll be a yell practice as well. So,
yes, at the very end.
Yeah, that'll be great. Okay, so you're working on a story on this, right?
We've launched the story. You can go to the AggieNetwork.com homepage and read it. 100 Years of Elephant Walk. We've got pictures. It started out somber, kind of, with that train of people lined up, reminiscing about their student days. And it was like that for like 20, 30 years. And then the 1950s hit. And I don't know if it was post-war or whatever, but they started dressing in like weird costumes and scraps of things and athletic shorts and sombreros. And then the Aggie students said, wait, this is getting too far away from the dignified. And the students brought it back to the dignified procession. And then, as a lot of people my vintage know, in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, Elephant Walk was just a free-for-all. It was in the middle of the day. A lot of people cut class. I have no knowledge of that. And we ambushed each other with mustard and ketchup and shaving cream and water pistols. And Elephant Walk was like thousands of people, and we went through the campus fountains and broke them, things like that. So the students, again, did an effort to clean it up. And the late 90s and the early 2000s, it became, again, this more reflective thing. And one thing I think is really cool is Elephant Walk has been picking back up in the past 2 years. They have thousands of seniors out there. And I talked to somebody who went on it last year, and he said it was really nice. He went with his buddies, you walked around campus, and you really do think about how you've changed and what's happened to you in these classrooms and these places that you've been.
Why is it important for your class?
I think it's about, a lot of times since social media and we're always on our phones, we don't have that time where we pick up our heads and look around at our university and reflect on everything that we've done here and how great of a place it is to be. And so I really want this Elephant Walk to be about memory and focused on reminiscing your times and just being in the moment and being present with your buddies, with your friends, and just seeing everything that you have done.
very wise of you to think that, because I say it to my kids all the time, like, get off your phones, like, enjoy this. Yeah. Is that something you're going to want to make sure that everybody kind of does? Like, is it known to, hey guys, let's enjoy this as a moment?
Well, I can't just say like everyone take off your phones, because then they wouldn't post us on social media. But I think it is just important, and I think all our stops will all inspire them to put down their phones.
I know you love doing these types of stories. So the research behind this, was it difficult to get the information? Did you enjoy the process?
I enjoyed the process. It was a lot. The history of Elephant Walk really hadn't been done to this degree before, so we did a lot of digging in original sources. Okay, and one thing we did that I'm really proud of is we got the association's followers on social media and the people who get our e-newsletter. We asked them to send in pictures of their Elephant Walk shirts. And so we have every Elephant Walk shirt ever on this story at our homepage. And it's the class of 1980 through, thank you, Katie, you got us the class of 26 shirt.
She almost dissed you, but she was there. She got it.
She drew it. She designed this. There we go. So we have every Elephant Walk shirt ever on the story.
Wow.
It's just fun.
Are you looking forward to it?
I'm so excited.
Yeah. So remind everybody when it is and how to be involved.
Okay, so it is November 11th at 6:26 p.m. They can start showing up at 6 p.m. at the Quad Arches. And from there, all they have to do is just walk along with us and enjoy their time.
And so where's the story?
The story is at aggienetwork.com.
Okay, just find it there.
Yep, right on. Big splash right on top of the page.
Thank you both for coming in. Appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you.
Absolutely. We'll hit a break here. We'll come back. We're going to talk to Joni Taylor here in a few minutes on the show as they get ready to start the women's basketball season. But right now, a moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online at caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. If you're a business owner and you're ready to take your operation to the next level, perhaps you need a fleet of vehicles, and they can take care of you there at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. They have all the biggest selection of vehicles you can look at, some with great trade-in values as well. If you're just a normal person trying to look for a car, look at the website. You'll see the great selection of vehicles, and of course, their complimentary pickup and delivery for their service customers, and that continuous change of oil for you, free oil change for life, as long as you own that vehicle from Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. A short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, caldwellcountrychevrolet.com. Hey guys, David Nuño here to talk about our new partners with EventPipe. They are a leader in hotel booking technology, and now they're giving you a chance to support Aggie student athletes every time that you travel. Thanks to their partnership with United and EventPipe, whether you're heading into a game, a business trip, or family vacation, every room that you book comes with cash back in the pockets of Aggie athletes. That's a wonderful deal. And with EventPipe, you'll get discounted hotel rates up to 20% lower than the major travel sites, while enjoying a fast, easy booking process. They've even created Presto, EventPipe's quick launch booking solution. It lets organizations build branded hotel sites powered by live hotel inventory, making it simple to book the perfect stay. So next time you want to book a trip, do it the smart way with EventPipe and support Texas Aggies NIL through United. Visit their website, tau.eventpipe.com. Now, I'll give Curtis on the YouTube page props. He uses his real name and his real last name when he makes comments on the YouTube page, so he doesn't hide behind a fake screen name. So I appreciate that, Curtis. Let's go to the Angry Elephant News and Social Center and read his YouTube comment.
Yeah, you got, Tamu gets a third-string quarterback. Where's Luggy?
He must be speaking of Billy Lucci.
Yeah.
Curtis, I think what you're probably alluding to was how Texas got lucky last season, taking on several backup quarterbacks, if I remember correctly. I'm sorry, I don't follow Texas as much as you do, Curtis. But if I remember correctly, Florida game, there was no DJ Lagway. I think there was a couple other games as well. And also that we on this show made mention of Texas not having a night road game in the SEC until the A&M game, which they won, right? And we've given them props there. So if you're saying, oh, hey, Billy Lucci, you're going to have to eat your words because you guys get lucky too with your third-string quarterback. That's how he talks. I've actually gone on YouTube, watched Curtis speak before, and he moves his hands like this. It's weird. Like he's rubbing a belly, two bellies. Anyway, yeah, A&M is, they are potentially benefiting, because as you heard Josh Pate talk about, there's that spike, right, of adrenaline sometimes when you take on a second or third string quarterback. So absolutely, A&M, the football gods, if you will, have done A&M a favor by going on the road and taking on a Missouri team, fighting for their lives, by the way, on their third string quarterback. Nobody is saying anything otherwise. So I don't know, like, where's Luggy? Why are you being disrespectful? Because I don't know, but his name is Billy Lucci. He's the owner of this company, and it's the biggest fan site in the country, for the record. And look at the studio, compare it to the others. That being said, I understand your point. I get it. I get it. Like, yes, A&M, they still got to go and win that game on the road. They absolutely have to. Nobody, was throwing stones at Texas when they went to Kentucky and took on, I guess, their backup quarterback, who's now become their first-string quarterback, and they struggled on the road at Kentucky in an overtime game. But the reality is, sometimes you get a break. God forbid A&M gets a break. God forbid. Passion. Actually, a real passion at the moment. But God forbid you get a break after, goodness gracious, how many backup quarterbacks has A&M had to play over the years?
Yeah, every season.
See, here's the difference, guys. Like, I recognize sometimes we get the breaks and sometimes we don't. And I also recognize that A&M is taking advantage of a schedule that, at least as the season has evolved, does not look as daunting as it did. But I don't care who you are. Going on the road to South Bend, going on the road to Baton Rouge, and going on the road to Austin, and going on the road to Columbia is not easy, okay? But A&M should take advantage of this. And yes, A&M has been given kind of a, just a pat on the back. Hey, here's an opportunity for you. They got to go make the most of it, okay? A&M also took on Peyton Thorne last year, who I thought was the worst quarterback in the history of quarterbacking, and they lost, okay? And he threw for like 350 and ran all over A&M. So you got to go take care of business. So when people get their feelings hurt about a moment in time, also recognize the full story, the full context. Last year, on this show, this same show that a Texas fan who goes to InsideTexas.com and posts with his real name on there, comes on our YouTube page and posts with his real name. On this same show, we've also given Texas the props that they deserve, which meant they had a great defense last year, and they earned it in the postseason. The second half of the year, they won their playoff games. They went to the SEC championship, and yes, they lost, but they had an opportunity to go there. They came to Kyle Field and won. They went toe-to-toe with Ohio State. They were given their props, but the reality of the story, up until that point, they had to go prove it, and they did, until they lost. This year, A&M has had some real tests, and they've proven it. Now they got to prove it again in Columbia, right? And they got to prove it against Lenore Sellers, and they got to prove it against Texas, and hopefully beyond, a lot of beyond. But it's not always a gotcha moment, right? Like, not everything is gotcha. See, remember you said this about Texas? Now it's happening in A&M. Johnny Murphy. That's not what's happening. All right, we'll hit a break. I just like to talk sometimes. When we come back, Joni Taylor. You familiar with her work?
Oh, I am.
Yeah, we're looking forward to talking to her as the new season is approaching us. They start tomorrow. Right now, let's talk about Chance McClain and Heritage Films and Farm and Ranch Films. I love Chance. If you have somebody in your life that you like, all you have to do is like them. And you want to tell their story, you should reach out to Chance. If you have one friend, tell that story. If you have multiple friends, family members, a family ranch, a family business. Let Chance McClain and his team tell their story. And what Chance is, he's just a wizard of doing, if that's the right word, is you may not think there's a lot there. There's so much there because all of us have a story, and Chance can do it in a 2-hour documentary form. So if you got a family business or family ranch, we can talk about how you found the land and what that land means to your family, and the work that you guys have done on it, and how it was inherited, whatever it may be. Right? You got a grandfather you want to honor, you got a mother, a daughter, whatever. Let Chance and his team do this 2-hour documentary, and I think you're going to be blown away by it. Check out the website, yourheritagefilm.com. yourheritagefilm.com, or call them up, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. Hey friends, David Nuño here for Prize Picks. They're back on TexAgs, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to get $50 once you play in $5 lineups. And Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while watching sports. Football season's here, basketball coming up, baseball, you name it. You go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs and start having some fun watching sports, making some money on there. And you can play Prize Picks in over 40 states, including California and Texas. Remember, they'll give you $50 in lineups once you play $5 lineups on Prize Picks. And they have the new thing. It's called It's Good to Be Right campaign, and they're kicking off the upcoming NFL season with their bold new campaign, It's Good to Be Right. The seasonal long push celebrates the thrills of getting it right, from the perfect prediction to winning your Prize Picks lineups. Prize Picks, it's good to be right. All right, we are back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's talk a little Aggie women's basketball. They tip off their season Wednesday night, and we're going to talk to our guest, Joni Taylor, on the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Joni, it's been a minute. How are you?
I am great. How are you doing?
I miss seeing you around. Like I used to see you all the time, and now you're all busy living elsewhere. But we're pumped about basketball season.
So for Halloween, I can't say we, I was in practice, but the kids in Darius came over to the neighborhood to do some trick-or-treating. So I meant to text you and let you and Elizabeth know that they were in the area on Friday, but you were probably at a soccer practice or chasing your kids around.
No, I was actually home. Elizabeth and Annalise were in Austin for soccer, and the boys were at a party, and Isla was doing something. So I was by myself handing out candy. I understand that you were involved in the Association of Former Students Halloween costume contest last week.
I was. It was, first of all, Halloween is one of my holidays that I have the time to get into because the season hasn't started. And so Halloween and Easter are kind of the ones that I go all out for. But they reached out, and Ellie reached out and asked would I be a celebrity judge. And I was like, absolutely. And so what a great time we had on Friday. They had a individual category, they had duos and trios, then they had groups, and then they had group skits. And so just to see the creativity from the different departments and people on campus. And anytime I have a chance just to step outside of the box that is like A&M athletics and like immerse myself into like the greater university, like just climate and like environment, I just always walk away from that with friendships and relationships and just better opportunities.
How excited are you for this season to start? And it's a kind of a new-looking team.
It is a new-looking team. We're really excited. You know, we're at that phase where we're tired of playing against ourselves and our practice guys and ready to get in front of Reed Arena. We've been supporting volleyball all year and went to the men's basketball game last night, and so we're excited to get out there and get our sneakers on the floor. So new faces, 12 new players, 5 freshmen, 3 returners, 7 transfers. And so I've been telling all of our fans and season ticket holders, like, you're going to have to really study those rosters to remember all of our new faces. But just what a breath of fresh air they are. It's a nice chance to have a reset and just see them come together. We have 5 international players, and so just the way that they have even immersed themselves into the Aggie traditions and all of the things that we believe in here in our program have been great to see.
You've mentioned before having more depth this year. Just talk a little bit about that and the combination of different lineups that you can put out there.
Well, I think, obviously last year we got burned with injuries, and it just really hurt us from our ability to not only have available bodies, but just to play the style of play we wanted to play. I think everyone knows we want to play fast. We want to push tempo. We want to be able to dictate defensively. And so we had to back off a few of those things last year because it was about making sure that our players that were available could maintain a certain standard for 40 minutes. And so the first thing we wanted to address in the offseason was, number one, our roster in general, like making sure that we had young people here who wanted to be Aggies, who wanted to be held to a high standard. And I'm not saying that the people here before weren't. That's not what I'm saying at all. But it became even more important to us because we knew we had a chance to revamp our roster. And then the second thing was making sure we had a full and robust roster. And so both of those things got addressed. And I'm just excited about the different options we have in terms of lineups, in terms of like things we can do because of the different skill sets that we have on our roster.
So with such a new team, setting a team culture and identity goes a long, long way, especially early on. Talk to us about some of the measures you've taken to make sure that you establish that culture and that identity.
Thank you for asking that. So our motto for this year is PTI, and it means program, team, individual, in that order always, in everything that you do, with urgency and impact. And we just believe as a staff that with that many new faces on our team, it was important for everyone to know that the program comes first. This program was here before we all arrived, and this program will be here long after we are gone. And so it is our job to uphold the standards of the program. And then after that is the team. And what we stress to all of our teams is this is the one year that this team will be together. Next year, this team will not look the same because there are seniors on this team. And so somebody is not going to be here. So this is the one shot we have for these 15 individuals to come together and to leave their legacy better than they found it. And then we believe that if you handle the program and the team, then individually you're going to reach and accomplish all the things that you want to. And just with urgency and impact in everything that we do, we live in a time where that's just extremely important in how we attack things. And so we've had a team retreat. We have once a week, we have partner walks where we walk around the gym with a new player, a different, you can't have the same partner to make sure that they are connected and they're talking and they take one lap to discuss their week and the next Their partner discusses their week, and then they pray or share anything that's on their heart. So we just try to do little things and big things to make sure that we're unified and that we are getting to know each other.
Talking to Joni Taylor here on TexAgs Live. Let's talk a little Lauren Ware. I saw that she was named to the Lisa Leslie Center of the Year preseason top 20 watch list. Talk to us a little bit about how her game has evolved.
You know, Lauren is coming back to us for a sixth season, and she didn't have to. And that's one thing that I will say. I think how we ended last year left a bad taste in her mouth as a team and just individually her performance. And so she wanted an opportunity to come back and leave Texas A&M better than she found it. She also saw some of the young people who we were bringing into our program, and she thought it was very important to, number one, be someone who could pass on the standards that we have and to be a model for that. And also she wanted to play with some of the players we were bringing in. So really excited for her. We did a lot for her this year in terms of taking care of her body and her knees to make sure she was going to feel as good as possible going into the season. So we really worked on strengthening for her and low impact so that her body was feeling good.
So what's kind of like, I know the goal is to win every game you can win, but what's kind of the goal early on in the season as you try to set a certain level, a standard, if you will?
I think for us, like we've had a lot of players who had surgery in the off season. Not a lot. We've had a couple of players who had surgery in the off season. We had a couple of like high ankle sprain, little nagging things that happened in the fall, and that we are just now getting some players back that are important to what we want to do. And so continue to have continuity and flow in these early games. And so what we've been telling them is simple is special. Doing a simple thing is a special thing. And so just, you know, making the easy pass, making the easy play, especially as we are still getting to know each other and have continuity and flow. And the other thing that we talk about in terms of goals is just defensively and offensively. We give them two or three things like, this is what we want to hold this team's defensive field goal percentage to. This is the number of turnovers we want to have. This is how many defensive rebounds we want to have. And we set those metrics based on, number one, our ability and what I think our team can do. And number two, like we get all the teams that went to the Elite Eight into the Final Four, and we get an average of those stats. The stats that we think we can affect, we find out what that average was for those 8 teams, and that's our mark. And if what we have found, instead of saying we want to be SEC champions and we want to make the tournament and we want to do this, if we hit these markers, that's going to put us in that category. And so we try to give them measurables in that way instead of having like overarching like goals, because every team is going to tell you they want to win the SEC championship. So now what do we do to work towards that every single day? And for us, it's hitting those metrics in practice and in areas where we think it's possible for us to do.
Joni, appreciate it. Thank you so much. We'll talk to you very soon. Good luck.
Thank you so much.
Joni Taylor. We'll be back. Let's talk a little snaps. Woo! All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. About to go to our interview where we keep it real. But real quick, I want to remind everybody about the subscriber special that we have going on right now. Current subscribers can ignore this, guys. This is not for you. It's for all the new people. You newbies out there. If you're a first-time subscriber and get a read-only TexAgs premium subscription for 1 month for just $1, right? So you want to jump on that. Go to TexAgs.com to learn more as you find the subscription special on the homepage. I might have done a Ron Burgundy, but first-time subscribers can get TexAgs premium subscription for 1 month for just $1. All right, so go to TexAgs.com to learn more about it. It is the subscription special on the homepage. Also, if you go to TexAgs.com, you can get all the updates from basketball, from football. We've got Olin and Luke breaking down the basketball game from last night. Coach Elko's press conference, Olin's notebook. Kendall Stowers joined the pass back. Jamie Morrison spoke to the media. So there's a lot of stuff on there. And later on today, you can see Marco Jones, Jamaria Morrow set to speak with the media. We'll have that. No layups was shot yesterday. You can check out the latest with Raheel and myself. All right, with all the business being done, let's go to the Buppy's Catering and Bartending Hotline. My buddy Jordan Pugh, who always keeps it real. What's up, man?
What's going on, man? How you doing?
How are you?
I am good. I am tired. I had a sick baby last night. So, fell asleep around 4 o'clock, but we rocking and rolling, man.
Fell asleep at 4 o'clock. I was waking up at 4.
Yeah, it was one of those nights.
I should have texted you. So, all right, a week off, right? What's like when two teams have a week off like that, and one team is preparing a backup / third string quarterback for the game? He's got a lot of credentials, that he did at the high school level. He was once a 5-star. I think he ended up being a 4-star, but the guy is legit. You've got that. You got another team that's rolling, but there's been a lot of press clippings in the last week about Nick Saban thinking they're one of the best teams in the country, and Marcel Reed on this Heisman tour, and all that stuff. So, not does one team have an advantage over another, but what can it do for the mindset of a team that is desperate and a team that feels like they're on top of the world?
Well, this is about focus, especially with two teams that are coming off buys. Who is better prepared, but most importantly, who's more focused? Look, we understand that we have the advantage when it comes into when it comes to this matchup, especially with them being on their third guy. He's a true freshman, right? I think he's a true freshman quarterback, if I'm not mistaken, at Missouri. When you're looking at the matchups as far as where we are from line play to skill position, we win those matchups. But now, can we continue to focus? Can we continue to stay on task, right? With what we're trying to accomplish this season. Now, look, Missouri has a good football team. They have a good defense that a lot of people aren't really talking about. But as far as our team, what we do, how we have shown how we can complete football games, I just think that this is a matter of focus. How did we heal up? How did we handle the bye week? Did we win the bye week? I think a lot of that will be shown this weekend. But I also think that with what we've done, the maturity of this team, how we bounce back in second halves, all the things that you've seen, the signs of a good team, the signs of a contender, we have done that. So I think you'll see that on display this week.
Jordan, I want to go back to your best year at A&M. I'm assuming it was, the 2010 season where you guys went 9-4. I think you lost to LSU, if I remember, in the bowl game. But it was a really good year where I believe you started off well, you had a little rough patch in the middle, but then finished very strong. What do you remember? Am I right about that, or am I just making stuff up?
No, that was I left that year.
Okay.
That was my rookie year in the league that year. Yep.
Okay, so then your best year might have been your freshman year at A&M?
We went 9-3 that year. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. So what about that year seemed like things were clicking?
It was all about continuity. So the thing about that year, we lost every game by a total of 6 points that year. Wow. I think we lost to Nebraska by 1. We lost to Texas Tech by 1. Then we lost to Oklahoma by 4 or something like that. All winnable games where it came down to the last play, right? But the number one thing that made that team click was the continuity. So when I came in in that freshman year, we were a very veteran-led team. A lot of juniors, a lot of seniors, a lot of guys that have played a long time together, right? And so when you came into that, you saw the continuity, the chemistry, the trust that everybody had. And so when you're looking at if you're projecting it to now and you're looking at where this team is, you see a team that's playing well. You see a team that trusts each other. You see a team where they have built a bond with each other. And I think that you're seeing that translate in the game, especially when you look at what we've done in these second halves, where we've had games like Arkansas, we had games like LSU, where you come out, there's some momentum going into halftime, but then you see something click. You see a team that transforms into the second half. That has a lot to do with what you build in the offseason, the bond, the brotherhood, the adversity that you went through. So taking that year that I had my freshman year, it's a lot of similarities to this year. Because, look, at the end of the day, there's good players all over the league. There's good players at every single team. But how do they mesh well together? And I think that Elko has done a good job of building the bond, but also keeping the standard. And I think the players understand that, and they're executing on that. And that's what's making us successful.
How much did you play your freshman year?
I didn't redshirt, but I played a lot on special teams. I was sparingly in and out on certain packages within defense. So if we get the nickel package, I would go in. 9 package, I would go in. So we had some time where I would come in and play, but I wasn't a full-time starter until my sophomore year.
And then do you think, because I feel like back then, that was kind of like the way to go. You get to see how the vets play, and you kind of, kind of grow within the system, as opposed to today. Sometimes you're forced to play young players, and some of them deserve it. I'm not saying they don't deserve it, because I mean, Jamari Memorial deserves those touches, right? But he doesn't have to be the guy when you have a room like that, I guess is more my point.
Well, I came in, man, we had guys like Melvin Bullitt, Justin Warren, Red Bryant. So you had guys that you could lean on, right? So you coming in as a freshman, man, stuff's moving so fast. You're on a different level. You're trying to get adjusted. You're trying to get adjusted to life outside of being at home your whole life, and just get equipped and acclimated to the game. But when you got guys that take you under your wing, like the Japhus Browns of the world, and all those guys, man, it helps with the transition. It helps when they're trying to help you be successful. And I think that you're seeing a lot of that this year. So year one, you have the introductory level with Elko. But I think the key with that is that a lot of the veteran players that were there last year knew who he was because they recruited him or they had the opportunity to play for him. So there was a level of trust there. Now, when you look at the guys that are here in year two, you had the bit of success that we had last year. You have the unfinished factor that we had last year, man. The continuity, the older guys taking everybody in, the younger guys stepping in and filling their role, the depth pieces that are coming in, and there's no drop off within our depth pieces. You're seeing a full and complete team that is doing their job. So I think that from a culture standpoint, from a buy-in standpoint, from a leadership standpoint within the team, you're seeing all those things factor in, and that's why you're seeing the sustained success so far within the season.
Jordan, you look at what's happening right now, and I can't not look back at last year, right? It's a different team, different players, different vibe, but like they haven't done anything yet, right? Like, and I know Coach Elko is stressing that. How do you stress that to a team like, hey guys, things are going great, but we were basically almost here last year at the same point?
You pull up the South Carolina game last year. That's what you do. And you blast it everywhere throughout the facility to remind them of this is what it looks like when you lose focus. You're basically in the same exact situation that you are last year. The only difference is you lost the season opener. They were undefeated at that point in time in SEC play. They were the number one team within the SEC at that point in time. It's mirror images of each other. But now at this point in this stage, you have to make a choice. What do you want to be? It boils down to the focus. It boils down to consistency. And, man, will we be efficient and effective when it comes to executing the plays? Last year, what you saw was a drop-off in tackling. Last year, you saw a drop-off in guys making plays. And I think this team is different. I think that they're built different. I think that the guys who experienced that last year understand that there's a bad taste in their mouth. And I think that they see the opportunity in front of them. Last year, I think, was one of the best things that could happen because you tasted the opportunity to play for a title, and you let it slip. And I think that's a driving factor for this team this year. Even with all the mishaps, getting into that last game against Texas, having the opportunity to play for a right to go to the SEC championship, and you're watching the other team on your field take that opportunity away from you. There's a driving factor to that. There's a cohesion. There's a bond that's built when you're trying to accomplish that task. And I think that's what you're seeing that's different. But if I was Elko, first thing I would do is I would play Lenore Sellers, and I would play all the missed tackles. I would play all the missed opportunities. I would play, not to hurt anybody's feelings, but I'd play Amari Daniels dropping that pass against Auburn last year where you let things slip away. And I would make sure we keep that focus and we stay time on task in order to move toward the goal that we want to accomplish.
Somebody on the YouTube page, I can't find it now, but basically said last year had to happen for this year to happen.
Yeah.
And you better take advantage of that opportunity, right? Like you want the lessons from the past to be something that fuels you for the next year as opposed to being a trend.
Well, you got to use pain as a privilege in this standpoint, right? So last year you experienced an extreme high, then you experienced extreme pain. What I mean by pain is letting things slip away. Even in the bowl game against USC, having the lead, doing what we're doing, and watching that slip. But when you look at what we had last year, I just think that, like they said, you have to let certain things happen because you have to feel it, you have to experience it, and experience is the greatest teacher. And so I think using that pain and allowing that pain to be a privilege, man, you can always go back to that. Sometimes, man, the biggest catalyst in any program is when you experience a loss, you experience a pain of some point, you experience lack. And I think that can be that driving factor because it's something that you can always revert back to. When you know that you should be somewhere, you should have accomplished something, you should have held up a trophy, you should have done all that. It's a driving factor. So I think you're seeing a team, which I hate this word, is motivated, because motivated is, I don't like that word because motivation comes and it goes. But I think you're seeing a team that is inspired, but a team that is driven. And you're seeing that play. That's what has me excited about this team. You're seeing a team that knows that they have the capability, but they are driven in order to accomplish that. That's the difference, I think, between this year's team and last year's team.
By the way, we've seen this before too. Was it 2016 that A&M came out of the college football playoff rankings and then they lost to Mississippi State? It does feel different, and maybe it's recency bias. I don't know. But when the playoff rankings come out today, what do you think? A&M 3, 4, 2, 1. What are you thinking?
It doesn't matter. All that matters is 4 weeks from now. That's the biggest thing. I think that it's good to be able to see it. It's cool to be able to see that your name up there. The coach in me would be like, hey, man, can we just save this to the last game of the season? So after the last game, because we know that's irrelevant. We have to be able to do our part. But also at the same time, I think that it gives you a windshield approach or a front mirror approach, man, where you see what the future can be. You see what's in front of you. And you just got to go take that now. So I think it's exciting. It's something to build upon. You're not going to be able to hide this from the players. You're not going to be able to hide that noise because social media is everywhere. They're going to be able to see it everywhere. It is the focus now. We know where the goal is. We know what we're trying to accomplish. Stay focused and continue to finish what we're trying to do, and we will be able to reach what we want to because we have the players, man. We have the team. We have the continuity. It's focused now. This is what it is in this last portion, the fourth quarter of the season. It's the focus. Whoever remains focused, whoever remains conditioned, they'll see it all the way to the end.
All right, so one of the things Coach Elko said yesterday was that he believes Missouri is the best defensive line they've faced so far. They do have really good edge guys. I know that.
Yeah.
And Ahmad Hardy is one of the better backs in the league. So is there something about Missouri that concerns you, or is it really more, no, it's about what A&M does or doesn't do?
No, it's about A&M. What concerns me is the bye week. I always hate the bye week, especially when you have things rolling. You don't want to mess up the continuity. You don't want to mess up the rhythm, the consistency. The bye week is what kind of scares me. Because remind me, we came off the bye week against Auburn, correct? Was it the Auburn game?
I believe that's right. It's all a blur, yeah.
And we look kind of lackluster on offense. We were the better team, but it took a minute to get us going. When you have that rhythm and you're flowing, and then there's a pause, it disrupts the rhythm. The question now is, all right, where's the maturity that we have coming into this game? Can we pick that rhythm back up? Can we take hold of that, especially with us going on the road? We have to take the momentum. We have to take the crowd out of it. We have to take the life and the hope out of Missouri. Missouri has a good football team. Everybody in the SEC has a good football team. Let's just make that one grand statement. But now it's more about us. It's more about how we play. It's more about where we are coming out of this. Can we keep this rhythm? Because I think if we keep this rhythm, man, there's no stopping us moving forward throughout the season. This is the part where the maturity, the leadership, the veteran guys have to step in and be like, listen, this is where we are. We can't let it falter like we did last year.
Jordan, let's play a game, if you will. I'm going to throw you some teams, and you tell me how much your opinion has changed on them since early in the season. It could be your preseason expectations or maybe week 1, week 2, but like how these narratives have kind of changed about these teams, because we were told one thing, we saw another thing, and then the season starts happening and things evolve. So Missouri, where were you on Missouri early on? Where are you on Missouri right now?
A good football team, good football program, and I don't think anything's changed. The only difference is the quarterback position. So we'll see how they counter with that, but I still think that they're a good football team.
South Carolina.
Oh, a disappointment. South Carolina has everything that they need. They have the quarterback, they have the playmakers, they have the front, but it's been a disappointment. That's what I would put our section, South Carolina.
Jordan, I went on a bunch of shows during SEC Media Days in July, and they asked me I forget how SEC Mike phrased it, but like who I thought was was going to be a big bust, and I was like South Carolina. Like what? Lenore Sellers is the second coming. Like he's Cam Newton, yada yada, and I go, yeah, he's great, but he lost some people, and his defense isn't as good. Yeah. So I don't think they're going to be as good. That does not mean that I don't think in a couple weeks that they can't come here and beat A&M because I saw Lenore Sellers it was like you touch them and you fall off, right? Like so, I saw what Taylor Green did, right? So I'm not. I know he's the truth, but I don't think I'm surprised by them.
I'm more so surprised because I knew what they had defensively, especially within their front seven. That's what's surprising me. I thought they would be more dominant. I thought they would be able to close more games out. But I just think it's been a snowball effect with them. And then part of me wonders, with Shane Beamer and with Virginia Tech being the first domino to drop, did that have an effect? The part of me wonders that. But they've been a disappointment to me.
All right. How's your opinion evolved on Texas?
Nothing's changed. I think that they're an average football team. I think that Arch is average. I think that they kind of remind me of TCU a few years back. They just somehow, some way, they find ways to win football games. I'm not trying to get ahead of myself, but I'm looking forward to that game. I think there's going to be a lot of things that you'll see when they play Texas, but I think they're very average. I think Sark knows that they lost a lot to the NFL. I don't see any one dominant trait that they have on that football team. I think Arch has been overhyped, but I also think that they're not utilizing Arch well because they don't know what he does well yet. So they're too inconsistent right now.
So you don't look at what they did last week against Vandy and that big win, and Arch looked pretty good in that game. That doesn't kind of move the needle for you?
No, because Alabama exposed Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is a good football team. They're a veteran football team, but when you play against other elite level teams, you see what can get exposed. At the end of the day, Texas had better athletes. Vanderbilt is a better team. That's why they were still within the game. But the score didn't really show how dominant Texas was in that game because Texas has better athletes. Now, if we compare that and we look down the line, let's say that matchup against us, athlete for athlete, front for front, quarterback for quarterback, defense for defense, we're talking a whole different term now. But I see an inconsistent football team, which makes them a scary football team because you don't know who's going to show up. But I don't see anything dominant on that football team.
All right, this is a stupid question, but I like stupid questions sometimes.
Let's do it.
LSU this year at their best, not what A&M did and destroyed them, okay? And Texas at their best, whatever you think that is. If that's the Vandy game, who would win that game? LSU at their best or Texas at their best?
LSU. Okay. LSU. I was never a Garrett Nussmeier fan at all. I thought he was good. I don't think he's elite by any standpoint. But LSU overall, their talent as a whole is better from top to bottom. When you talk about this year's team, Texas to me, they have an identity crisis. They don't know who they are. They don't know what they want to be. Are they a finesse team? Are they a running gun, shooting, throwing the ball all over the field type of team? They don't know who they are yet. And that's what makes it an LSU push for me. I just think that overall, they're the better team. They have the better athletes, and they would be able to utilize that and take advantage of that in a matchup.
You know what worries me about Texas and a team like Georgia is that when you have that much talent and you're able to withstand some of these curveballs that the season gives you, right? The Kentucky game, the Mississippi State game, Georgia finds a way. They'll be in a hole and they'll find a way. Like these teams that have supreme talent, when they figure it out enough, then they're still standing. Does something change?
Texas plays Georgia this week, right? Is it this week?
Next week.
Next week. Okay. I'm interested to see that game because I think Georgia punches them in the mouth, and I think Texas folds. When I watch Georgia play, that is one of the most resilient football teams I've seen in a long time. I have not seen a team in a long time that can take punches, that can look like they're out of games, and somehow, some way, they fight their way back. When I look at Texas, to me, lacks toughness. It's an identity. They don't know who they are. When you don't have an identity, you lack a whole lot of things. Georgia, they're both talented. They both have the good skill players, this, that, and the other. But Georgia is a team, man, that I think is a lot like Kirby. I think they're tough, blue collar. They're going to fight you in a phone booth, and I'm going to walk out of this thing alive. You have to kill that type of team. You have to kill all hope. Texas, I don't get that matchup. So when you go athlete for athlete, that's when coaching matters. And then when coaching matters, the thing that takes place after that is, okay, where's the psyche of my football team? Are we just the tougher bunch? Are we the more physical bunch? And that's what you see a lot with Georgia. And I don't think you see that a lot this year with Texas.
All right. Last thing for you. How's your opinion changed on Alabama?
Oh, I think they're elite, and I think they're cooking at the right time. I think the difference between Alabama this year and last year is that you have players that are stepping up all over the field, meaning at all positions, and they're playing well as a unit. Now, defensively, I don't think they're as good. I think they don't have as much talent. I think if we match up with Alabama, I think it'll be one of those shootout type games. But Alabama is a team that I'm very intrigued by. They're steady. They keep the pace, but they play well as a unit. And that's why I'm impressed by Alabama.
Jordan, appreciate your time, man. Thanks so much.
All right, man. Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Let's do it, man. That's my guy, Jordan Pugh. Even though I got the year wrong. 2010. He was already in the league. I just looked at his years. I was like, I think he played that year. I was wrong. But I was right on his freshman year. All right, we'll hit a break. When we come back, nothing. I mean, something, but nothing. What do you got? You've got something? No, I got to hit a break. Come on, man. What do you think? I don't even know if your mic was on there. Or maybe I think my pack just died. That's why. If you are looking for a reason to move back to Aggie Land, or you already live in Aggie Land or looking for a great opportunity, you should look at the Association of Former Students. They're looking to hire professionals to join their team. They were just here. Randy was over there sitting like he owned the place, just legs up, like, hey, I'm the boss. I'm the VP. You do what I say. I think he's a VP. He might be just a director. I think he's a VP. But there's openings all the time in different departments. Sometimes in marketing, fundraising, sales, communications. I'll just make up a department probably there too. And when you go there, you're going to love working for the place because they are the premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting Texas A&M, and they play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss opportunities to help out with Howdy Socials, Aggie Ring Day, class reunions, Aggie Muster, and everything in between. Join a team that exemplifies those Aggie core values of excellence, integrity, leadership, loyalty, respect, and selfless service, all in support of that worldwide Aggie network. So if you're interested in joining the team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It is the Association of Former Students.
All right, guys, let's talk about some new partners, Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. They're Aggie owned and operated. They are an mobile IV hydration company that was founded back in 2024. I met with Sheldon and Danny over the last week, and they're awesome people. They really know what they're doing. They're proud to serve Bryan College Station with awesome services like IV hydration, Botox, and even some weight loss options. Whether you're looking for a quick boost of hydration or dehydration preventative, they can tailor an IV cocktail specific to your needs. And on a busy weekend, I know some of you guys might be partying a little bit too much. If that's the case, an IV can be one of the easiest ways to ensure you're receiving all those necessary vitamins and minerals to make you feel better. Their overall mission is to bring a more personalized and accessible wellness option to the broader range of clientele here in the Bryan College Station and Brazos Valley area. To book an appointment or inquire about it, just call them up or text them. 979-217-1561. Again, it's Aggieland Hydration and Injectables. Check them out. It's our friends at Aggieland Hydration and Injectables.
Y estamos aquí. Welcome back to TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Hour number 3 of the program. It's been a fast show. It's been a good show. I think 9 hours of sleep puts me in a good mood. I think I was grumpy yesterday. Did you notice that? Were you here?
No, yeah, I was.
Yeah. Did I seem grumpy to you?
No, you're good.
I was just a little,
It's a Monday.
But I just, I've been getting these sinus headaches every once in a while, and it just put me in a bad mood, grumpy. But I'm happy today because we've got a basketball team that started yesterday that's undefeated, obviously. We've got a football team that's undefeated. We've got a women's basketball team that's about to start. We've got a volleyball team that's dominating. Right? So a lot of good ththings happening.
Yeah, no, definitely. And definitely something on the chat that people were kind of diving into. Josh E9286 was saying, give me a break, dude. We are number 1 in strength of record. We won in South Bend. We won in Death Valley at night. We beat LSU and so badly that their whole state imploded, and we wiped the floor with Mississippi State and Florida. Our schedule is not like TU's last year.
Look, it doesn't really matter at the end of the day. Opposing fan bases are always going to poke holes. This is coming from somebody who loves to argue with people. I enjoy it. It turns me on in a sports sense. Not to get too graphic. But it doesn't matter, right? Indiana got into the playoffs last year. They had to prove it, right? So Notre Dame, people thought they had a weak schedule, and they got to the championship game, right? So you got to go prove it. Texas last year had an easy schedule before the season, and it turned out to be true. Before the season, it didn't look like A&M had an easy schedule because everybody's like, well, Florida's a top 10 team, and Auburn's a top 10 team, and LSU's a top. And you know what happens? Top 10 teams play each other, they lose. That's what happens. Somebody has to lose. The schedule does look a lot more manageable. I don't care. A&M, as Josh Pate said, broke, killed, murdered, Godfather scened LSU, right? What did somebody on Twitter call it? Maybe it was Billy. The Maroon Wedding, right? You've seen Game of Thrones, the Red Wedding, right?
The Red, yeah.
God, that episode's fantastic.
One of the best episodes ever.
If not the best. So they Maroon Weddinged LSU. And people are like, well, LSU was already trending in the wrong direction. It's the SEC, brother. Every game's tight, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not trying to justify anything. A&M has not had the privilege of going to the playoffs, okay? If you want to call it an easy schedule and A&M gets in, that's fine. They're going to have to go prove it. I guarantee you this. I want to make sure I phrase this correctly. Championship caliber teams do not care who they play when they play. Put the ball down, let's go. And I believe that's A&M's mindset. That does not mean that they can't get bit in the butt. Last year, Ohio State got bit in the butt, right? Twice, right? So, is it twice? Yeah, twice. Didn't they lose the Oregon game early in the Michigan game?
He was earlier,
and then the Michigan game. So you can get bit. A&M would use, if A&M played Bama tomorrow, I'd be worried because I'm worried about everything. I'm worried about Samford because I'm just a human that worries about life, right? But I would still like A&M's chances against Alabama.
Agreed.
I would like A&M's chances against Ohio State, Indiana. I don't know if they're going to win those games, but I like our team. I like our defense. You tell me Le'Veon's back in December, I like that even more, right? We only have to run them 8 times, and we still got Reuben, we still got a Jamario Moore, we got Amari Daniels, we got E.J. Smith, right?
Stacked.
You got KC, you got Mario Crape, and you got freaking Cassius Howell. So, yeah, you can bring up the schedule, and that's fine. Okay, it's a talking point. Cool. A&M broke Auburn. They broke Arkansas, and that was a tough one. That was tough, right? They broke LSU. They didn't break Notre Dame. Part of that might be Notre Dame's schedule, but they didn't break Notre Dame. And I kind of want Notre Dame to make the playoffs. I would like that match. I think that game could have been worse if A&M doesn't self-implode early on in that game. So, one more thing before we hit a break.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to kind of discuss a little bit about what we're going to, or what A&M football is going into this weekend against Missouri. I feel like a lot of people, at least on the text line, are thinking this game's kind of a giveaway, we're going to win in this spot. But Missouri, even though they don't have their starting quarterbacks, not like Bo Prabula was some world beater of a quarterback, and how Missouri won football games is running the football and playing good defense. they're able to play in ways where they can keep the ball out of Marcel Reed's hands, it could be dangerous. They're 10th in the country in rushing and 3rd in the country in time of possession. So,
But, okay, let's dig deeper. Do me a favor. We got to hit a break soon. But who has Missouri played? You just do a game log for Ahmad Hardy, who's really good. Okay? I am not saying he's not good. He's fantastic. But if you look at it, I don't think he's reached 100 in his last 4 SEC games.
You are correct that in his last 3, he hasn't hit 100. He did against South Carolina, but 2 of the games have been under 60. So,
okay. So, and like, who have they played this year defensively? They played a pretty good Vanderbilt defense. They definitely played a good Auburn defense. What did they do against Auburn? He probably had 60 yards in that game.
Yeah, 58 on 24 carries.
I'm just saying, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I'm talking ghetto. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, and you could say the same thing about A&M. Who's A&M play? Like, I think Auburn's got a great defensive line. I think Florida has a great defensive line. A&M routinely, not every game, because you look at the Arkansas game, it didn't work out that way, but routinely, A&M has outrushed their opponents like 200 to 80, 90, right? Like, that's routinely. Arkansas rushed more than A&M did. We'll hit a break. We'll talk to an insider. Adam Spencer is a friend of the show. He writes for Saturday Down South. He went to Missouri. He knows them inside and out. We'll talk to him on the other side. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with more. It's TexAgs Live. All right, we're talking about Burlebo, the heart of Texas, more than an outdoor lifestyle brand. It's products created with you in mind. Currently, I'm wearing the performance polo, the Texas maroon and gray. If you look into it, you've got the state of Texas in gray, and you also got it in maroon. It's one of their highest, most popular sales that they have there. It is really nice. Comfort and versatility. You can wear it in any situation. Quick drying, fits the size. But Burlebo, they're rooted in tradition, fueled by passion for the outdoors. Designs high-quality apparel that works just as hard as you do. So whether you're hitting a workout, enjoying a day of fishing, or cheering on your favorite college team, their gear is made for the athlete, the outdoorsman, and the everyday adventure. And it's really nice. I wore this one to church the other day. People talked about it. Really, my kids were like, "Yeah, Dad, you look pretty good today." From athletic shorts to your favorite go-to tees and performance hoodies, they have everything you want. Check out burlebo.com and find your new favorite gear. It's Burlebo for the athlete, for the outdoors, and for the family. We are back here on TexAgs Live. We are presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Let's go straight to the Bubby's Catering and Bartending Hotline. Talk to our friend Adam Spencer of Saturday Down South. He's a Missouri alum. He follows them closely, and he follows everybody in the SEC closely. What's up, Adam?
Hey, how are you?
Good, man. Thanks for joining us here on the show. So I wanted to bring up something. A couple weeks ago, you reached out to me. I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Whenever it was announced the for sure schedule for the SEC and the 3 teams that would be facing each other, and Missouri was listed as A&M, one of A&M's partners, along with Texas and along with LSU, and you're like, hey, these guys are actually bigger rivals than a lot of people are talking about. I wanted to give you a little bit of a platform to discuss where that comes from.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, Texas A&M, bigger program than Mizzou. I'm not trying to argue that we're on the same level financially or anything like that. But back in the day when it was the Big 12, a lot of the top Mizzou guys came from Texas. Chase Daniel, Henry Josie, Denario Alexander. A lot of these guys came from Texas. We'd scoop up the 3 stars that didn't make the cut for A&M and the Longhorns and get a lot of value out of that. So like it was a big recruiting ground. And then when we moved to the SEC, it kind of it's still important, but now they have to make inroads into Georgia and Florida and like all that sort of stuff. But Texas is still a very important recruiting ground for Mizzou, and those were some good battles back in the day. There was always Mizzou had some good years, and when Mizzou was good, generally Texas A&M was kind of down, so we never really were on the same page. So it's not like an intense rivalry, but it is important for high schoolers and the recruiting that Mizzou does, especially. So I'm glad. I was pushing for them to be permanent rivals, and I think that's an important. Just getting into Texas more and more often is something that's important for Missouri, and Eli Drinkwitz has done a good job keeping St. Louis locked down more than past coaches have, but it's still important to get down there and get some of those recruits in front of their home fans.
I like it a lot more if Eli Drinkwitz leaves Missouri and they have to hire somebody that isn't as good as Eli Drinkwitz. I'm just saying.
Yeah, there's a chance. I'd say it's probably 50-50 right now, and that has me worried a little bit. I hope he stays for the continuity and what he's built with back-to-back 10-win seasons. I think we'll find out this cycle how important continuity is with him and Kiffin, both having what they've built at their respective schools, but then the big boys are calling from Florida and LSU, and we'll see what happens, but we'll see if stability or money wins out.
Talking to Adam Spencer here on TexAgs Live. Adam, my mic went out, so I don't hear you, so I'll let you answer this question, or my headset went out. What about last year? Okay, so A&M before this season started, there was like this revenge tour, like got to take care of business against Auburn. You got to take care of business against Texas. You got to take care of business. Like there was like a lot of these losses that really kind of stung A&M. But for Missouri, one of those big losses was the A&M loss. So just how important is this game because of the way last season went?
Yeah, even without the quarterback, Prebula got hurt. That's really unfortunate right here. But it's still an important game. You just can't get blown out the way that they did last year. Like last year's game was an ugly mess. The worst game that Mizzou played all year, and just like really halted some momentum that they had after a strong start. So this year, like even if they don't win, even if they, because they're starting a true freshman quarterback in Zollers, they have, some other issues that, Texas A&M comes in undefeated. So playing some of their best football. So it's a tough matchup and true freshman quarterback. So, I'm not expecting them to win, but they just can't get blown out and embarrassed like they did last year down in College Station. That's the most important thing.
So considering the offensive situation and the elephant in the room, both Prebula is done for the year. So you have Zollers coming in. So they lose the mobility, right? They lose that because Bo could run a little bit, but a little bit more of a deeper and more accurate passer of the football is Zollers. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm excited to see what he can do as a passer. He showed, Prebula was not doing a good job seeing the throws in that like intermediate to deep range. He was good at, Kevin Coleman's been putting up some big numbers this year because he's kind of a possession receiver. The short, a lot of his catches come behind the line of scrimmage and he makes some stuff happen. He works quick slants, stuff like that. So, I'm excited to see what this means for, Josh Manning down the field, Marquise Johnson down the field, some of these deeper routes that can that can develop now under Zollers. I think that he showed a little bit of that when he came on in relief against Vanderbilt, that he could push the ball down the field a little bit better than Bo could. So, he's not going to be the runner. He's not going to be that sort of threat. But if he can, if the secondary of A&M has any breakdowns, I think that he's going to be more able to exploit that than Bo was.
We talked to Coach Elko yesterday at the press conference, and I asked about like how much can you evaluate a quarterback based on a half, and he kind of basically said a team at this point of the season is going to do what they do. Sure, they'll try to tailor it a little bit more to what his skill set is, but the offense is the offense. Do you kind of agree with that?
Well, I hope that they kind of get back to what they were doing earlier in the year when they were feeding Ahmad Hardy the ball 20 plus times a game. I mean, they have a two-headed rushing attack that's, a pretty solid tandem with Ahmad Hardy and Jamal Roberts. I mean, Jamal Roberts is a heck of a backup, and in that running room with Jamal Roberts last year was Kawan Lacey. So, I mean, Mizzou has produced some pretty quality running backs, even if some of them don't end up staying at Mizzou. So this is a good opportunity for them to get back to the run. I think Zollers will have to hit a couple of throws early to kind of prove that he's a legitimate threat and that A&M can't just load the box to try to stop Hardy. But if he's capable of doing that and he can connect on a deep pass or two in the first quarter, that opens things up. And I think that Kirby Moore needs to get back to feeding Hardy. And so I expect the game plan to kind of be more like what it was earlier in the year rather than what it became kind of in the last 3 or 4 games.
So I have this maroon slant when I ask this question, but I'm picturing a world where Cassius Howell's barking and he's going up against Caden Green. How has Caden Green done against elite? I know the answer to this, but I'm just asking you, how has he done against elite pass rushers, if that's in case the matchup we see?
Yeah, I think that if you're A&M, that should be the matchup that you try to get there because, he's got a lot of talent. He's a big, heavy guy that can push guys around in the run game. I think his footwork needs to be a little bit quicker against some of these fast, powerful edge rushers, and there's none better in the country than Howell. So he's going to have his hands full, and like sometimes he gets a little bit out of position and he reaches, and he hasn't made a ton of penalties this year, but he does, every now and then grab somebody. But yeah, it's just about the footwork. He's got to be quicker with his feet, and I think that's going to be easier said than done, obviously, against a guy like Howell. But that's the matchup. If I'm A&M, I want Howell lining up over Caden Green every chance I get. And, Mizzou doesn't have its top tight end potentially. I haven't heard any update. I think he's still day to day with Brett Norfleet, who, is their red zone target, but underrated with his ability to like chip block a little bit there. Like, he's not a traditional blocking tight end, but a little bit underrated with what he is able to do there. So if Green's isolated one-on-one on Howell, that's a problem for the Tigers.
So an area that I would be concerned if I'm A&M is that Missouri has taken on a couple top 10 teams and lost by combined, is it 10 points? So considering how close they keep this game, considering that they are desperate, considering that sometimes there's a bump in the right direction for a team on their backup quarterback, how concerning should this be for A&M, considering how close some of those games have gone?
Yeah, I mean, as long as Mizzou can stay close, I mean, they're going to have a chance. And I do think that the defense gives them a chance because, Damon Wilson, he doesn't have the gaudy sack numbers that Howell has, but he's a heck of a pass rusher. And him and Zion Young, like, I think they're like up there in the SEC, if not number one, then like 2 or 3 as a combo with pressures and QB hurries and, just impacting the game that way. So, I mean, Zion Young, Damon Wilson, they're going to keep Marcel Reed uncomfortable in the pocket all day. And it's just going to be how many times is he able to sort of break contain and keep his eyes down the field. And, sometimes he's going to have to run and he's capable of doing that. So, it's a good on good matchup there with what Marcel Reed brings to the table and what the Tigers have in their pass rush.
Remind me how they've done against mobile quarterbacks. I know Lenore Sellers is somebody they face, how he did. Pavia can move, obviously. How have they done against those quarterbacks that can move?
Sellers had one of his better games of the year against the Tigers. So, I mean, that and Jalen Daniels at Kansas had a pretty big day too. That just came down to Mizzou making the plays late, and they finally figured some stuff out against Daniels in the second half there. But the Sellers had one of his best days. They were mostly able to contain Pavia. He was getting some Heisman buzz going into that game, and that kind of got shut down a little bit with the Tigers because he didn't have a great day. So hopefully hopefully for Mizzou fans' case, like they've learned a few things about defending mobile quarterbacks. I think it's important for those guys that I just mentioned to not just pin their ears back and try everything they can, but you gotta rush, but you gotta keep your assignment too, and keep him in the pocket, because as much as he's developed as a passer this year, I'd still rather have to make him throw to beat the Tigers instead of getting out and getting into space with his legs. That scares me a little bit more still.
Adam, great stuff as always, my friend. We'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yeah, thanks a lot. Enjoy the game this weekend.
Thank you. Adam Spencer, Saturday Down South, does great work for them. We'll hit a break. We'll come back with the final segment here on TexAgs Live. Right now, Twin Liquors, Texas family-owned since 1937. They have 100 locations across Texas. They're in your neighborhood. That you can also shop online for a pickup or a delivery. Twin Liquors makes it easy to celebrate every single sip. From effortless gifting with complimentary bag and bow, gift wrap, custom gift bags, and perfect wine and cocktail pairing suggestions, Twin will help you celebrate in style. And they have the deals of the week at Twin Liquors. Every Thursday, a fresh selection of items are offered at a fantastic price. Shop these deals in-store and online, and wine lovers take advantage of this here coming soon. Next week, they're going to have a wine sale that I'll tell you about, so you'll certainly want to see that. It is Twin Liquors. Go check them out. TwinLiquors.com. That's TwinLiquors.com. Go check out Twin Liquors. I wish I had Olin here for it because he loves energy drinks. Catalyst Citrus Spark. This is one of the new flavors out there. Whether you're grinding through workouts, cramming for a test, or closing in on a deal, or getting ready for TexAgs Live, you never know, right? Fast becoming the go-to fuel for Aggies everywhere. Zero sugar, I'm all in for that. Or synthetic sweeteners, no artificial colors or flavors. Catalyst delivers clean, high-performance energy with smooth, crisp taste that is never syrupy, designed for both health and hustle. You want to get going? You use this Catalyst right here. It's about pure energy and pure results. And what sets them apart? Packed with premium nootropics blended to boost focus, clarity, and mental stamina. I need this. I'm in, guys. I'm in. Plus, with plant-based caffeine, vitamin B12, B6, Catalyst supports metabolism and energy production, making it more than a drink. It's your lifestyle training partner. Built for competitors on the field, Catalyst fuels strength, focus, and pure results. Buy now at drinkcatalyst.com. That is drinkcatalyst.com. Train harder, think sharper, pure results. It's Catalyst. You see Nick's attitude there? He yells out,
Spicy.
Nobody told. Sorry. Every break is 3 minutes and 9 seconds. I just made the 9 seconds.
Yeah, no, that's not true. That's not even true.
That when you're not
typically, I have trained my crew. Sometimes I got to get up and go do stuff around the office
really? Like
at
powder your
breaks.
nose?
Yeah.
Huh.
You know, if I'm not back to my seat by the time the bumper music starts playing, I've trained everybody in here to start yelling at me. I didn't hear a yell.
We were on the third song. That's how long it took you.
No.
There was like 3 songs they
That's
played.
not true.
Yeah. So Ryan on Twitter asked this question, and I think we're going to do a group effort. Sound good? Justin, Nick, everybody? Big weekend in college football this weekend. How's everyone feeling about this Saturday against Mizzou? Both teams coming, I don't know why I'm talking like that. Both teams coming off a bye week. This is a huge game this Saturday at David, at Billy, at TexAgs. So I'm going to let Nick answer first.
I feel better about this game than I did the LSU game. So, yeah, feeling good, especially with the backup quarterback. I know a lot of talks, you know, it sounds like a lot of people are trying to pump him up, but, you know, I've, again, like I said, feel better about this game than I did the LSU game, which might be a bad thing. Who knows?
Oh, great job. Your turn.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little bit more worried about Missouri this week than I was LSU a couple weeks ago, just because if you look at the two teams we kind of struggled with defensively this season, Arkansas and Notre Dame, both top 20 in total offensive metrics. Missouri also finds himself in there, so I think that there's a little bit more of a cause for concern. I am confident we'll win, but there's some things.
I was actually more concerned. I'm more concerned about Missouri than I am LSU, except at halftime when I was mad at the world. I thought we were going to win, but I was just mad. Like, we should be up by 59 right now. And we were up by whatever. And we're down by 4, I should say. So, no, look, I'm excited about it. It's a great opportunity. But I do expect it to be much tighter than the LSU game felt. That's going to do it. We'll see you mañana. Ran out of time. Bye.